Ready to go racing at the Rock Racetracks, and Darrell Waltrip, three-time now Nextel Cup champion. Wow, what a day to go racing, and how are you going to keep your car intact for 400 miles and the tires good?
You got to be smooth. We hear it all the time. Got to be smooth. You got to have tire management, and you got to have good pit strategy. You can't just come in the pit anytime you want to. You're going to have to think that out, because you can go further on fuel than you can on tires, so that's going to change things a little bit.
But Larry, you got to keep him on the lead lap.
I mean, that's it. You're going to keep him posted the entire time where the leader is. You're going to give him his lap times, but you're also going to say, pace yourself, be patient. We get to that last 50 laps, then you're on your own, DW.
Let's get a word from Speedway Illustrated's Dick Berggren.
You've heard a lot about tires. They are so important here this afternoon at Rockingham. So Rusty Wallace crew has been to the tire truck. They have bought and mounted 16 sets at $402 a piece for each of these tires. That totals out to $25,728. They're going to use them all. To Matt Yoakum.
Dick, after winning his 4th straight Busch race here at the Rock on Saturday, you would think Jamie McMurray's confidence would be really high, but actually he told me he's nervous. He's got so much pressure on him. He starts second. The last time a driver won from second here at the Rock was Steve Park back in 2001. It was his second career Cup win. McMurray's trying for his second win here today. To Steve Burns.
Matt, 23-year-old Kasey Kahne is a star on the rise. He'll start 3rd today. He's replacing a legend, Bill Elliott, in that 9 car, but his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, gave him an egg, made him carry it around for 2 days and said, this is your friend, as in, put it between your foot and the pedal. Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, numbers can be deceiving, so don't worry about the 18 car of Bobby Labonte. His practice sessions haven't been turning any heads, but this will. In the last 10 races at the Rock, he has finished 8 times in the top 10. He knows of what he drives. They're confident they have the car to take it all at the Rock, guys.
Beautiful day for racing here today.
But the track temperature, 88 degrees, that's hotter than it's been the entire time we've been here. Really going to make these cars slide around, losing that grip.
Here we go, DW.
All right, boys, let's go racing. It's Sunday. Boogity, 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 boys.
Just like yesterday in the Busch race, Ryan Newman on the bottom. In the 12 car, he gets the run off turn 2. Jamie McMurray, our winner yesterday in the 42 car, falls in behind him, running second. Right now on fresh tires, these guys will be running right around the bottom of the racetrack. Ryan Newman will get his 5 bonus points for leading the lap here on the first lap.
Darrell, on these fresh tires, everybody feels they're Superman for a while.
Well, you do, but as you can see, you know, you're forced to the outside. And, of course, we had the Busch race here yesterday, and there's plenty of grip up there. I think you'll see guys hopping to the outside right away, trying to make those passes back in the field.
McMurray, conserving nothing, goes for the lead on the inside, turn 1.
He's in the 42 car. Looks like he picks up the throttle so much earlier in the middle of the corner than Ryan Newman in the 12.
He's just got a knack for this racetrack. 4 straight Busch wins here, one again yesterday, and he is on a tear.
He has that confidence.
Brendan Gaughan may have scraped the wall coming out of turn number 2. He continues, no apparent damage, just a little puff of smoke there. And at 3rd place, Rusty Wallace is under fire from Kasey Kahne.
Brendan, watch that hot spot thing there. Don't that wall jump out there and bite you.
Kasey Kahne in that 9 car. Remember, this is the car that won the race here in November, but it was with Bill Elliott. Bill Elliott made his first career start here in 1976. Kasey Kahne was not even born.
59-year-old Joe Ruttman took 2 laps in the James Finch 09 and has pulled that car to the garage area.
Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, he continues to lose spots. He lost a spot then to Jeff Gordon in the 24 and Jeff Green in the 43. The Petty car is right behind him now.
Really got off of turn 2 over there really well. And boy, when you can man it over there, that's what happens. So you have to start working the throttle. The guy behind you doesn't. That works good unless somebody's in your way and you run over him.
Darrell, you have to drive the car here as much with the throttle pedal as you do that steering wheel.
Well, like Steve said, you need that egg under the pedal all the time because that's how it's going to be.
A lot of history at Rockingham for that number 43. Richard Petty from Level Cross, just up Route 220. Brand new Petty Museum at Randleman, where you'll see a lot of that STP red and Petty blue. Worth a visit.
And I really think this is a race that Jeff Green could run well in. The car has run good here with Bobby Hamilton back a few years ago, and Jeff runs good here. So we can see some good things out of the 43 today.
2 distinct grooves here, and Jeff Gordon is the first in turns 3 and 4 to run it way up on the high side, and we'll see a lot of that today.
Oh, that's rim riding, and I love it, baby. You get up there and just let the rough side drag.
Now, what I've been watching the last 2 or 3 laps, and we're only on about lap 7 or 8. He's running the bottom in 1 and 2. He's running the high groove in 3 and 4.
And there's a reason for that, Larry, believe it or not. The sun is setting. As it goes down in the west, it sets it. It shines on turns 3 and 4, and it gets a little bit slicker than 1 and 2.
You see our Fox tracks, the number there, it says car lengths. That's how many car lengths he's behind leader Jamie McMurray in the 42.
You just always have to guess at that.
Now we know it. The Fox track shows it to us.
Tell you one thing we don't have to guess at. That's all those Dodges up there in the first 10. A whole fleet of them. I just think the new rule change, Larry, I think it's played right into the Dodge car's hands. I don't know why. Something about the bodies, I guess, but this shorter spoiler, and it seems to be playing into the Dodge's hands.
Well, last year here it was the Fords that cleaned house, took the first 8 spots. This year it's the Dodges.
And you know, Ford got a new nose, and they got more downforce on the nose than they had last year. That may turn out to bite them.
Because the rear spoiler being reduced in size took rear downforce away. The balance on the car, difference from front and rear may be off.
For more on the lead Dodge, Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, it took Jamie McMurray exactly 3 laps to say, guys, I'm loose already. His spotter, Northern Ear, said nice and easy does it. And we said in 10 laps, those tires will drop off by a full second. Matt Yoakum.
Either took a lap and a half for Ryan Newman to tell his crew chief, Matt Borland, that his 12 car is tight all the way around this racetrack. It was both loose and tight during the final practice session. Some changes have helped. They still have some work to do.
And Matt, I watched that group this morning. They were not very good in the final practice yesterday. They pretty much changed everything but the roof number on that car.
But you got one of them that's loose, and he's complaining. You got one of them that's tight, he's complaining, but they're running the same lap speeds.
This group right here, Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Elliott Sadler in the 38, we're riding here with Robbie Gordon in the 31. They're in desperation right now. They're stuck back in traffic. We're only 11 laps into this run. They're already a half a lap down to the leader.
You cannot linger in the back. You've got to get going. I think Robbie got up in the wall here somewhere over there off of turn 2, probably. Let's see if we can see. Well, here he is. He's up in that kind of that transition area we were talking about, and smacks that wall right there where it sticks out.
He's coming off DW's hot spot.
He just hit it. She will be marked well before the day is over with.
From Michael Waltrip's onboard camera, looking back at Robbie Gordon.
And I tell you, Jeff Gordon is making a really good, he's making up a lot of ground running that high line off of turns 3 and 4.
And we just, it's easier on the tires up there. I mean, you run where your car wants to run, where it feels the best, but it's so much easier on the tires.
Plus, there's a lot of grip up there. Everybody tries to run the bottom. You see a real black streak around the bottom of the racetrack. There's a lot of grip up high up there. It's hard on, it'll eat the tires up a little bit more, Larry, because there's no rubber up there, but there's a lot of grip.
The front 5 begin to squeeze back together. McMurray, Newman, Kane, and Mayfield. And Jeff Gordon, the veteran of that group, sits 5th. Welcome back to Rockingham, North Carolina, where Dodge occupies 5 of the top 6 spots. Today's aerial coverage provided by Quaker State. Casey Kane has moved to 2nd, Jeff Gordon 3rd, dropping Ryan Newman to 4th, ahead of Jeremy Mayfield and Rusty Wallace.
What just amazed me, look right there, you see 3 different lines by the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place cars. Jeff Gordon in the 24 at the top, Casey Kane in the middle of the racetrack in the 9 and 2nd, and Jamie McMurray still right around the bottom in the 42.
There's no question that if you can run the bottom, that's the best run, that's the best line to run, because it's the shortest way around the track. But boy, I tell you, you've got to have your car set up well to keep it down there for a whole run.
You notice it wasn't that many laps ago. Ryan Newman in the 12 got passed by Jeff Gordon in the 24. He's starting to move his car up the racetrack now, but he has a lot of pressure from Jeremy Mayfield in the 19.
Larry, how many laps are the crew chiefs hoping to get out of these tires on a run?
Well, they were telling me this morning it ranged anywhere from 50 to 70 laps. You can run almost 90 laps on fuel, but like each and every one of them told me, it's going to be a monkey see, monkey do. You get 2 or 3 guys come to pit road for 4 fresh tires, you can't be far behind them, because they're going to beat you like Jeff Hammond talked in the pre-race about 2.5 seconds a lap.
But don't you think, Larry, that as the race wears on, that tire wear always seems to improve? I mean, yes, you know, when we first get here, it's, oh my gosh, we got a tire wear problem. Then they run the Busch race, it gets better, and they get better today.
And there's no question what they'll do. They'll be conservative in the beginning, but then they'll start stretching it out. Steve Burns, how about our man in 2nd?
Hey, Larry Mack, we told you before the race started, crew chief Tommy Baldwin made Casey Kane carry that said this is your friend. Casey has just said the car is getting tight, getting into the corners. And that's another thing. Tommy said although he's just 23 years old, Casey gives great feedback.
It's like pledging a fraternity, carry an egg around for 2 days.
Yeah, but you know, talking about his car, if I'm going to have a problem, I want it to be tight getting into the corner, because that means when I go down into that corner to 165 or 70 miles an hour, I'm still always cutting to the left, not having to correct to the right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always underestimate the speed at this 1 mile racetrack. These guys are averaging well over 150 miles per hour, well over 160, 165. Getting into the corner, you don't want to be turning right.
We've always tried to show you what is the driver's point of view, and now we have it for you almost exactly. Robbie Gordon is wearing our Fox helmet cam, and that's as close to his field of vision as you can get on television.
And you watch his hands, his steering wheel is reacting to the racetrack. There are dips right there, right there. Those are dips that the track has in it. Right there, he gets a little loose off the corner, makes a little quick correction to the right. Now he's floating it down into turn 1. He wants to get that left wheel down as low as he can. A lot of wheel right here, a lot of steering input. Doesn't want to watch that transition right there, or you'll jump out there and hit that wall like we talked about earlier.
When you see that shot, Darrell, do you miss it?
Oh, I'd like to be in there helping him. I did the ride along program.
Let's help him from up here.
But DW, what he's seeing, what we're seeing with this camera, basically is what Robbie Gordon can see. It's the reason that spotter is so important on this grandstand.
And I gotta tell you, if I'm down there in the pits and I'm watching our telecast, I would be getting feedback from Robbie and then putting that and correlating that to what I see with his hands.
Battling rookie Brian Vickers, the Busch Series champion, for 28th place. And Gordon makes the pass.
Once again, we talked a while ago, the problem is these guys are only about 9 seconds in front of leader Jamie McMurray.
The Chevrolets have not been all strong as a group, and the Childress Chevrolets right now, you saw Robbie Gordon. Here's Kevin Harvick in 30th. Rookie Johnny Sauter is at the back of that pack in the AOL car in 33rd.
And you got to get going. You can't sit back there very long. I mean, you got to do all you can do, because trust me, that leader is right now in the middle of turns 3 and 4, and they're down here going into turn 1. That's going to evaporate in a hurry.
Kevin is back in 30th position. This is cars coming off turn 2, DW's hot spot.
Well, you just watch every car just about come off there. They fishtail.
There's your leaders right there. Jamie McMurray in the 42 with a lot of pressure from Kasey Kahne in that 9 car.
What happens is you come off there with the wheels cut hard left, Larry, and then when the front end bites, that back end will hop out there just that little bit, and man, you got to be ready.
Jeannie, is there a problem on Jeremy Mayfield's 4th place car?
Well, guys, it looks like there could be. He's saying, first of all, that it is tight all the way through. The bigger problem, he's been watching oil temperatures rise from Jump Street. Kenny Francis, his crew chief, said, look, buddy, we'll just hope for a caution. We can figure out what's wrong. Matt?
Tony Stewart was on the move early, climbed from 24th up to 18th, but he has started to backslide. His car was tight on entry, loose off earlier. Now it is loose on entry and loose off. He is just holding on.
Now, there's 2 schools of thought, and Larry knows this. One is I want my car to be good on the long run. Quite honestly, I think I want my car to be good about halfway through a run, because by the time the guys are good on the long run, catch up with that guy that was fast in the beginning, it's time to make pit stops again.
Yeah, and the good thing about Tony Stewart's problem, it's a consistent problem. They can tighten that race car up because it's loose and fix it maybe everywhere on the racetrack. Going back to Jeremy Mayfield's problem that Jeannie was talking about on oil temperature, I think the temperature today threw these guys a little bit of a curve. Remember, the Dodges have a new nose. The airflow through it could be a little different than last year. These hotter temperatures, they're going to have to maybe get some tape off that nose to cool things down.
Now, they work these engines so hard now. They're turning them well over 9,000. That creates a lot of heat.
34 laps complete in the Subway 400. Jamie McMurray, Kasey Kahne, Jeff Gordon, Jeremy Mayfield, and Ryan Newman. Ken Schrader, the Schwann's Food Service Dodge, hitting the wall in turn 2.
Did he get a little nerf over there, Larry?
And there he is right there. That's Kenny Schrader in the 49 car. I'm sorry I missed him there.
I'm not so sure he didn't get a little nerf from that 30 car.
Jeannie?
Well, the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, pretty darn good, he says. Tight off, though, so they're going to take a pound out of that right
Rusty Wallace started 4th. He had dropped back to 7th. They're going to try to tighten the car up, make it handle a little bit better for it on this pit stop. Matty.
Paulson and Ryan Newman enters pit road 6. They're going to make a 4-tire change. More importantly, they're going to make a wedge adjustment to try to fix his tight condition. To Steve.
Matt, Jamie McMurray and Casey Kane both want more grip. Both drivers will get air pressure adjustments and lower the track bars.
One tire at least went across pit road and was hit by the nose of one of the cars about 4th or 5th in line there.
That does a lot of damage, man, I'm telling you.
We'll wait and find out whose.
Whoa, red wheel.
And one in the grass. Let's see who lost one.
Looked like that may have come from Jeremy Mayfield, the 19 car.
I believe it did.
Yeah.
John Andretti in the 1 hit it.
Wow, look at that thing.
The one I saw was further down at the curve in turn number 1.
With interliner, that's about 75 pounds bouncing up and down there.
It can do some serious damage.
Boing, boing. Watch it jump over that wall. Boing.
There was another one further down pit road, and we'll try to see which car hit it with the right front of the air dam.
Mike, that was a huge break for Derek Cope, Brendan Gaughan, John Andretti, Kevin Harvick in particular, and Kevin LePage. There you see John Andretti, the damage on the right front of his nose that was done by that tire from Jeremy Mayfield.
So we have our first caution and our first pit stops of the day. Jeff Gordon is the leader.
Welcome back live here in Rockingham, a Visa Race Break from the Hollywood Hotel with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, Jeff Gordon currently your leader, Jamie McMurray running second. McMurray having success yesterday in the Busch Series. What are you seeing so far? And from the garage earlier, they said the tires will be really fast early, but they'll wear in a hurry.
Well, I think we've already seen that right now. A couple of guys were falling back. I looked up and saw Kurt Busch making his way up through the field, Bobby Labonte falling back through the field. Also saw Dale Jarrett making his way toward the front. A lot of these veterans just kind of taking their time, saving their tires, and working their way toward the front.
Dale Jarrett started 9th last year, won this race, started 9th again. And when they talk about the mileage on these tires, after 25, one of the crew chiefs said, hey, they start to go, but you can get 50 miles out of them.
Oh, definitely you can get 50 miles out of them if you know how to kind of pace yourself. You just can't fire it off in the corner and wear that tire out. If you do, you're going to wind up pitting early and you're going to wind up losing laps.
This has been a Visa Race Break under caution. Let's go back upstairs to Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
Mike, whose notes do you think Dale Jarrett's using today?
Mike Ford's, which were Bill Elliott's last fall. If you tuned into our final practice coverage, we had quite a discussion about that. The other car that was damaged on pit road was Jeff Green. He hit a tire that rolled out to the edge of pit road, was held by the inside wall. We'll show you that in a minute. We're going to go back to green with Jeff Gordon leading, Jamie McMurray, Casey Kane, Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, Earnhardt Jr., Wallace, Kenseth, Ward Burton, and Sterling Marlin, the top 10.
There you see with our Fox tracks, as their speed builds, going down the backstretch into turn 3, over 160 miles per hour. I tell you, the guys that really benefited from their pit crew was Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, but a car that was moving ahead in a hurry, and he comes out in 8th is Matt Kenseth in that 17 car. He had been moving toward the top 10. His pit crew put him into the top 10.
Matt Kenseth pitted 12th, came out in 8th. Mark Martin pitted 18th, came out in 12th. They were the big gainers on those pit stops.
It's a lot easier to pass them on pit road than on that racetrack.
I tell you, like, you can make up seconds in the pits. I can't make them but a few hundredths on the track. What right now is it's when everybody has got their fresh tires on and the crew chiefs have been on their case about, hey, buddy, you're going to have to pick it up.
10th place battle, Jeff Green. You see the damage on the right front of his number 43 from hitting that tire, but it hasn't hurt the car. He just went by Sterling Marlin on the low side to take up 10th. Here's what happened on pit road. You see that tire at the top of the screen. Rusty misses it. Jeremy and Kenseth miss it. There's a car inside of Jeff Green, so he's got to go wide, and he collects it.
But you know what? With the spoiler change, that might not be a bad thing to have happen to your nose. It might take a little downforce off of that bad boy and maybe make his car better.
Here's another guy that's on the move, that Budweiser car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's battling for Ryan Newman in the 12 for 5th. Matt Yoakum.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. picked up 4 spots on pit road. He was yelling, free it up, free it up, free it up. Tony Eury Jr. made a track bar adjustment, a wedge adjustment, and they also shuffled the air pressures around all 4 corners. Jr. said he just had no feeling with his race car, Dick.
Rusty Wallace currently running in 7th position. Cannot overestimate how important this race is for Rusty. He has not won in 99 starts, and he's put a tremendous amount of effort into this particular event. That's in part because he had run so incredibly well here last spring, trying desperately to break out of a long losing streak. And then, Steve?
But Dick, pole sitter Jamie McMurray has pit stall number 1. It's way down between turns 1 and 2. When he left pit road, he said to his crew chief, Donnie Wingo, never pick this pit again. I hate it. I can't see it when I come down onto the pit stall. Jeannie Zelasco.
We followed the bouncing tire back to the 19 pit of Jeremy Mayfield. Yikes. The penalty meant they had to come back in, but it actually turned out to be a good thing. They decided to work on the car. The water temperature gauge is broken. The oil temperature running high. They brought the car in, they cooled it off, and Jeremy says it's running a lot better now.
The hometown hero, Kyle Petty from nearby Randleman, crashes and tries to bring that car around to pit road.
Caution is out.
Yeah, hard swipe of the wall. So at lap 52, we're under the second caution.
You know, just going back to all these problems on pit road, I think you've got 2 reasons, Darrell. One, it was an early caution. You had 39 cars on pit road at one time. Plus, we've talked about it. This pit road continues through turn 1 and 2, and it's blind. I think it's what Jamie McMurray's talking about. He can't find his pits going through that curve.
Yeah, and when you pull out, you have to pull out headed straight out into traffic because you're in the turn. And, yeah, it's a terrible place to pit. You'd be better off to pit way back here somewhere on the straight part of the pit road.
And as you say it, here they all come.
And how many laps have we run since we were just in?
Oh, we used those tires up in 12 laps.
12 laps. Now, I want to ask you something. Would it make a lot of sense to have a tire rule like they have in the Busch Series so you don't do this?
I never have any those crew chiefs in the Busch Series.
Jeannie?
Well, the 24 car of Jeff Gordon still a little bit loose, so they decided to make more tire change here and some tire pressure adjustments as well. Dick?
Big question was whether Rusty Wallace is going to let his new crew chief, Larry Carter, make the calls. He did just then. Carter said pit if the leaders pit. Matty.
Newman's car still tight, a track bar and a wedge adjustment to Steve.
Crew Chief Donnie Wingo said, boys, 4 tires and a round of wedge in the left rear for Jamie McMurray. Left side tires going on. Casey Kane right behind him. McMurray off pit road.
Ryan Newman out first in front of Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Matt Kenseth. Here's why we're under caution. At lap 52, the 45 of Kyle Petty.
I have to look at that from another angle.
Did he get together with Johnny Sauter?
Yeah, they definitely got together, but I'm not sure. Sometimes those cars will get together like that. It'll hit your left front wheel, and it'll just take the car right out. You just lose control of the car.
From our hood pin cam on board Johnny Sauter.
Yeah. He just came off the turn 2 over there. You don't have enough room to really come off underneath somebody. Got into the side of him and bounced it into the wall.
I love it when we put these cool new cameras in just the right places. Sorry about that. Second caution of the day for Kyle Petty. We're getting set to go back to green. Robbie Gordon is the leader. Andy Hillenberg, car 80, got the pardon and the free pass around. He was first a lap down when that caution came out. Here we go. Kyle Petty was able to stay on the lead lap, and so did Ken Schrader from his earlier bump with the wall that brought out the first caution of the day. The only cars in the garage, Kirk Shelberdine and Joe Ruttman. Neither of those cars were in the final practice. Made a brief appearance and gone home.
Yeah, those guys, though, you take Kyle Petty, he hit that wall hard back there. I think he'll be back in there working on it for too long. But he's going to have trouble having early.
See, Ryan Newman in the 12 car pulls it to the bottom. There's right here, although I think Ryan's car is better than Robbie Gordon in the 31. This is just those 8 or 9 laps difference in sets of tires.
Yeah, and you see Rusty there creeping in the picture. Rusty, he's been fast all weekend, Larry. He qualified well. He was fast in both happy hour practices. They obviously have a fast car. He just has some good luck today.
Robbie Gordon was 25th when the caution flag came out.
Look at this 3 wide for second place. Robbie Gordon in the 31, stuck in the middle. That's a battle for second. Jeff Gordon got the good run in the 24 car off the high side.
We're with Robbie Gordon to come from 25th to the lead. He must have only taken 2 tires.
He either took 2 tires or no tires. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? If he can catch a quick caution here in about 10 or 15 laps, it has paid off for what they did.
Yeah, he got to a good track position, but the cat that's really on the move is that yellow car right there in the 4th place.
That'll be Matt Kenseth, the defending Cup champion, coming from 25th starting spot and moving right up with him, Dale Jarrett. Dick Berggren?
Well, most drivers these days allow their crew chief to make the majority of strategy decisions and even let him decide what should be done to the car on pit stops. Rusty Wallace, for all the years he has been racing, has made those decisions himself from behind the wheel. Larry Carter, his new crew chief, the plan as we go for the lead, the plan now is to let Carter make the strategy decisions. Rusty is going to still make the decisions about what to do with the car in terms of tires, change them, don't change them, that kind of thing. It's a big change in the way they've run this operation. To Matt.
Dick, Ryan Newman, his teammate, just lost the lead to Jeff Gordon. His car did handle better out in the fresh air. It's both tight and loose. Ryan was telling his crew chief, Matt Borland, I'm going to search around to see if I find a better line. Matt asked him, do you want us to give you the time so you'll know? He goes, no, I'll be able to feel it. Steve Burns?
Matt, Jamie McMurray lost some positions on pit road on that last stop. His rear tire changer, Billy Kerwin, thought he had a lug nut hung up and it cost him several spots. McMurray trying to fight his way back through.
Fastest car on the racetrack right now is Matt Kenseth. He works right around the bottom and he's coming to the front.
And what I like about Jeff Gordon up there, he runs low in 1 and 2. The car works good on the bottom in 1 and 2, but when he gets to 3 and 4, he takes it right out next to the wall. And the other thing I noticed about Rusty Wallace's car, it's got that Rusty Wallace, I'm fast for a few laps, but I'm not fast for a lot of laps.
Jeannie has more.
Well, DW, I think you've done this before. You're reading Jeff Gordon's mind. He said that's exactly right. When he runs on the bottom, he is loose. When he runs on the top, he tightens up. So he's trying to figure out the track, obviously, to make it work to his advantage.
And, Jeannie, that's what we talked about earlier. These guys have to search around, maybe not so much where their car is the fastest for the shortest period of time, but where it feels the best to them.
And you got to be a little freer in 1 and 2 to run the bottom. It's a little tighter radius corner. Then you can run high down there on the other end where you got a big sweeper.
Here's Kurt Busch in the 97, who's been trying to get to the top 10. He is presently 13th.
Check to see if we have damage. It looks good. The front end looks good. No problems with the front end. The back end got hit a little bit, Jeremy. What do you see?
Just pushed in on the right side just a little bit. We'll be okay.
The front end's okay, Kurt.
Everything looks good.
As Kurt just was concerned about the front of his race car. You handle a little damage on the rear of your car. It does not affect it that much, but that front end being damaged will definitely change the way that car drives.
So I like Jimmy Finney. That's Kurt's crew chief, and he has an authority. He has authority in his voice that I think is really good for Kurt Busch.
Rusty Wallace has got authority underneath that right foot as he powers around Matt Kenseth. And Wallace goes to third.
But look at those two guys coming behind them there. Dale Jarrett in the 88 car, the UPS car, and Jamie McMurray in that 42. They are coming while Rusty and Matt, the 2 and the 17, are running side by side.
I'm liking what I see in that 88 car today, boys. I mean, he's won here. He's hungry. He wants to win again. And I know that Mike Ford has probably got him a really good long race set up in there. This thing is looking good for him.
And there's a big difference. Kenseth continues to battle Rusty, while Jarrett saw McMurray going and said, go ahead. We got plenty of racing left to do.
Yes, sir. I mean, he just says, going out there and wear your stuff out. I'll get you later, buddy, like he did Kurt Busch here last year.
If a car catches you, there's a reason he caught you. Right. He's quicker than you are. Don't sit there and battle him. Not this early in the race.
Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, Dale Jarrett has led over 1,000 laps here at the Rock in 33 starts. We've heard guys changing track bars, making air pressure adjustments on the previous 2 stops. On the last stop, Dale Jarrett said change. Absolutely nothing. I like the way it is right now.
And Steve, we talked about him being the defending champion of this race. Won this race a year ago. That was his only top 5 finish in 2003. Had a great run at Daytona last week. brings that momentum in here to Rockingham.
It was Brad Parrott's first win as a crew chief, and then it seemed the wheels came off that team. A lot of things, internal and external, happened to the Jarrett team as the season went on.
And you know, all that hype we had at Daytona about the Fords, they were on the front row and they were going to do this and they were going to do that. You know how many laps they led at Daytona? 2. 2 laps. So they need to recover. They need to come back strong here if they can.
Matt Kenseth is coming back strong. He repasses Rusty Wallace and takes 3rd place back. Matt?
One of only 2 drivers has scored top 10s in both races here last year, driving the car that he clinched his Nextel Cup championship with. They over-adjusted the race car on the first stop. They made a track bar adjustment and air pressure. It did help, but not enough. It made the car way too tight, so they went back up on the track bar. It has really helped, and you're seeing the result. He's on his way to the front.
Thanks, Matt. Jeff Burton is back in the race with a new radiator. Jeff Gordon, our leader, at 73 laps. Now for our Singular Wireless Virtual Crew Chief question of the day. Vote now from your Singular Wireless phone by sending text message FOX to phone number 191 or visit foxsports.com to vote online. Gordon, Newman, Kenseth, Wallace, McMurray at the Rock in the Subway 400. Jeff Gordon continues to lead by 7/10 of a second over pole sitter Ryan Newman. Matt Kenseth up to 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th. 3 Dodges, 4 in the top 6, counting McMurray and Casey Kane. As you look at the leaderboard, Sterling Marlin's worked his way up into the top 10, as has Mark Martin.
Yeah, Kurt Busch is leading there in 11th. Jeff Green was his been-up fender, is still hanging in there in 13th. And Scott Wimmer, he's 14th.
Guys, I tell you right now, 2 of our veterans, Sterling Marlin in that 40 car, the Coors Light car, and Mark Martin in the 6. These 2 guys have worked their way in the top 10. Sterling Marlin, no top 5 finishes last year. And just remember, Jeff Hammond, Mark Martin, this is where he got his first career Cup win in October 1989.
Larry, what you're talking about, Mark, got a chance to speak with him this morning, and he was really excited about today's race. He really feels good about this tire combination. He thinks that when they drop off, a guy like him, a veteran like him, can come to the front, work his car on the bottom, work it on the top, and make his way and lead this race and possibly win it. Also, you talk about Sterling Marlin. Funny thing about him, when he got ready to qualify the other day, the team spent all day practicing on race runs. Weren't worried about qualifying, just threw some tape on the nose and went out and made a pretty good effort, but they feel very good about this race car in the long haul.
Yeah, a lot of guys worked on that. 11 teams worked on race setups on Friday because the forecast for yesterday was rain, and they were a little bit fearful of that.
And you watch that out to back of Dale Jr.'s car, and you say, where's Sterling going? He went to the bottom, and Jr. went to the top. But, you know, Larry, I still think if I'm going to have my car one way or the other, I want to have it pretty fast on the get-go. Because if tires are going to fall off, I want to get me a big lead and then let them catch me.
Coming toward the lead is Matt Kenseth, the 17.
Whoa, he jumped a little sideways right there. That's that kind of push loose off of turn 4. You run off that corner, the track really opens up to the rear.
And what will happen, they drive off in the corner, the car gets a push. In other words, you turn the front steering wheel, the front tires just slide. Then when they finally catch, the rear wheel's going to break.
And the difference in 2 and 4 is turn 2, you got no room. So when it does that, you hit the fence. Over here, you got a little bit better angle coming off the corner.
Mark Martin trying to make the move on Dale Jr. for 8th. 9th place now.
Yeah, and he's running the bottom. Mark is running pretty well, too. And that's the line that you would expect Mark Martin to run, because I've seen him race here, and his left wheels never get above the white line.
Comers and goers, the fellow who led at the restart, Robbie Gordon, because he either took 2 or no tires to get track position, is back to 21st. Here's Robbie, 4 spots ahead of where he was running when that caution came out.
Yeah, I mean, the problem right now, though, is I'm trying to see here how far he is behind the leader. He's about 11 seconds in front of the leader right now, so he's over a half a lap down.
And just to show you a little bit about what push loose is all about, we can take a look here at what incident that happened off of turn 4 there a minute ago. Watch the 48 car. Now he's up top. Now right here he grabs a whole big handful of steering wheel. He's got to cut. He's in the throttle wide open. But see how the back end will hop out? And that's just from trying to get the throttle wide open with the wheels cut left. When the front finally bites, then the back pops out just a little bit. Got to be on your toes.
Jimmie Johnson, they have just not found their self this weekend here. He's back in 27th position, and he's only about 7 seconds from going a lap down to the leader, Jeff Gordon.
Throttle, man. There's nobody out there smoother than what you are. Just work that
For the
throttle
lead.
smooth. You can do it.
Matt Kenseth underneath Jeff Gordon powers his way to the lead. He started 25th.
I believe, I honestly believe that man, Matt Kenseth, is going to try to show everybody I can win a championship. I can win a lot of races too.
Now you see Jeff Burton in the 99 car. Remember, he just came out of the garage area about 20 laps ago with a radiator change. He's sitting there 19 laps down, but he has about 20 or 25 less laps on his tires. Once again, this shows you, even if you don't have a good race car, and Jeff had a decent race car, how much new tires will do for you, or fresh tires.
I'm kind of anxious to see how far these guys are going to try to stretch it on their first green flag pit stop. See how far they think they can go on these tires.
And let me correct myself. Kenseth started 23rd, not 25th. But still, gained 23 spots and come to the lead this early in the race.
In less than 100 laps.
Kasey Kahne moving his Dodge up on Rusty Wallace. This is for 4th place, about 2 seconds behind the leader.
And Darrell, I'm with you. I'm anxious to see about who's going to go the furthest on these tires, because this race, it always seems to, about this point in time of the race, get that green flag run to it. Cars kind of get settled down. Cars are they're getting a handle on a little better with adjustments they've made, and you get this long green run here.
Well, if you could look at the total, if you look at the whole racetrack, we got cars everywhere. You know, there's cars on both straightaways and all the corners. They're spread out now to where a driver's got a little room and he doesn't have to take any chances.
And what's going to be a big factor, it's going to be about 10 or 12 laps. Our leader, Matt Kenseth, in the 17, he's going to start catching the tail end of the field, and that's when he really gets in trouble sometimes. Those guys get into desperation trying to stay on the lead lap.
I hate desperation.
Kevin Harvick's had kind of an up and down day. He sits in 24th, Matt.
Kevin Harvick will tell you if there's one racetrack on the schedule that he would love to delete, it would be Rockingham. He's never led here to Nextel Cup car. He led 24 laps yesterday in the Busch Series race and finished 3rd. He told me the only thing that might have transferred, maybe a little bit of confidence, but it certainly has not helped in the handling of the car. He says the car is just junk. It is way too loose to drive. He's tried to move up high and see if the high line will help the looseness, but it hasn't yet, Steve.
Matt, with Pat Trice, crew chief for Mark Martin. Pat, what is he saying about the race car? What adjustments have you made to get up into the top 10?
So far, he's been pretty happy with it, though. We really haven't touched the Viagra 4 Taurus so far today, but, you know, we're kind of waiting to see how it irons out the longer it goes, but right now he's pretty happy with it. I'm sure we'll have to work on it a little bit, but pretty good so far.
Darrell, why is it the drivers have either a love it or leave it attitude about this place?
Well, it's so slick, and it's so difficult to drive these cars with 800 horsepower around a track that's slick like this. It can just absolutely, it frustrates you so badly that you just want to get out of the car and go home.
And I tell you, talking about
right now
getting out, Mark Martin was so glad to get out of Daytona and get to Rockingham. He missed the Busch Series race there, finished dead last after engine problems in the Daytona 500. He was glad to get to Rockingham.
And Mike, the other part is you literally are pushing and loose all the time. You turn the wheels, nope, nothing happens. You're pushing. Then the front bites, and then the back end comes around. Now you're loose, and the crew chief's driving you crazy about, give me some feedback, baby, give me some feedback. I said, leave me alone. Can't you see I'm busy?
So Martin trying to move up while one of his Roush Racing teammates, Matt Kenseth, leads this race. And another, Greg Biffle, is in 20th spot. Here's Jeannie.
Well, guys, there are a lot of honorary pit crew members, but this young man is truly honorable. John Silver, the brother of front tire carrier Jeff Silver, is holding the sign today in the 16 pit. Wednesday, he's being deployed to Iraq as a member of the National Guard. So he takes off on February 25th. He's expected to stay there for 12 to 18 months. Doing some work today, got a bigger job to take off for on Wednesday. We certainly salute you as we take a look again at John Silver. If you haven't looked at Ford lately, look again.
We wish him well, Jeannie, and send our best wishes to all of our troops especially those stationed abroad.
I actually got a call from the Air National Guard, the 131st Aviation, a group from Company E, that called me from Kuwait this week and said, hey, say hello to us. We're going to be tuned in to Fox this weekend watching your race. And we're going to ride with Greg Biffle. It's not going to be a helmet cam. It's going to be a suspension cam. And just look, this is the shock. It never quits moving there. You see how much brake he uses getting in the corner? The rotors actually start to glow, a lot like they would at a short track. But if you just notice, DW, it never quits moving. The suspension is always moving at this racetrack.
Yeah, and you can see the sidewall of that tire, Larry, how much it's see that belly it's got in it right down there. That's where it's flexing at, and that's one of the changes in the tires this year. But you know, Larry, probably you're going to get a little brake heat here like he did momentarily right there, because more than likely you don't have brake ducts on the car here. You probably don't, use enough brake here just momentarily to where you don't want to open that front end up and let that air go in.
A lot of time the brakes here can just be a little security blanket for that driver driving off in the corner.
I'm just touching them, I promise.
That's what makes it there.
That's right.
Dodge has dominated qualifying, but now we're at parity. Kansas Ford leads Gordon Chevrolet ahead of Newman's Dodge.
Welcome back to Subway 400. Matt Kenseth, last year's points champion, leading Jeff Gordon. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter, currently running third. Last year's winner, Dale Jarrett, currently fifth. One of the sentimental choices, Rusty Wallace, who is currently sixth. Let's listen in on his radio communication.
More forward bite up off the corner. 10-4, more forward bite. Still loose up off. 10-4.
Of course, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Hammond communicating Larry Carter, his new crew chief for this year.
Yeah, that's one of the things right now. When you've got a new crew chief, he's got to understand what the driver needs. And Rusty's asking for more forward bite, a little bit loose up off the corner. So knowing what adjustments may make Rusty happy as far as either a track bar, air pressure, or whether he really needs wedge, is going to be up to Larry making that decision. We take a look at Larry Carter right there, who is really in his second race with Rusty this season.
Let's quickly check in with Dick Berggren on more on that communication. Dick?
Well, Rusty just called it again, and he said he feels a lot of load on the right front corner of the car. That caused Jeff Thousand, he's the car chief, to go up to Larry Carter and suggest that they go down to the track bar and leave the air pressure alone.
All right, Dick, and for Rusty Wallace, we say a sentimental choice. He has more wins at this track than any active driver with 5. But the story that he's been hearing is, hey, you haven't won, and now this will be his 100th race without a victory. It's been a long time. But they felt this morning, we were in the garage talking to people, that they had a car that they could win with. His last victory was at the California Speedway in 2001 back in April. Other guys, the late Dale Earnhardt went 2.5 years without a win. Sterling Marlin, 171 races without a victory, as we see a battle for the top spot here on lap 113. And certainly Rusty thinks that he can contend. He admits that last year was an embarrassment for him.
Yes, he does. And as we see right on the screen, these guys are really going at it hot and heavy, and Rusty's right in behind this group. He can see what's going on in front of him, but he ran a lot of laps this past weekend, more than ever, and they've really worked hard to try to get a race set up that he can kind of tune around and keep up with the rest of the pack. So that race up front, I'm telling you right now, they are going at it like it's the final laps.
And this is only lap 114. Rusty at age 47. Certainly one of the older guys, as you see Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson right here being lapped by his teammate as well as his car owner. And right now it looks like he's going out on pit road.
Let's go back upstairs, gentlemen.
He'll be the second driver on pit road. Brendan Gaughan was in just a bit ago after he went a lap down. The rookie made a stop, so here's Jimmy Johnson.
And that's probably not bad strategy, because we're getting to that window about 65 to 70 laps since these guys were on pit road. You get lapped, come on to pit road, get you 4 tires, and what that may enable you to do is you're going to have less laps on your tires, and what will happen, you'll maybe make up some time on those leaders while they're still out there on no tires.
And here's strategy undone on the left of your screen. Robbie Gordon was 25th. When the last caution came out, he pitted. Either didn't get tires or just got 2, but he did get the lead. Now he has been lapped by the leader, Matt Kenseth. Those tires fading. Gordon is 28th. Matt Yoakum on the leader.
Oh, when you look at Matt Kenseth, it's been a love or hate. He hated it. His first 4 races here at the Rock, he had an average finish of 31st, but in his last 5, he's really reeled in the numbers. 6.5 is his average finish. 2 top 5s here last year. I talked to his crew chief, Robbie Reiser, their field winner, around lap 145 to 147. He says, but they'll see who plays their hand first to see if any of the other leaders short pit. Matt says the car is great. He doesn't want any changes on his next stop.
Well, what those guys have to really watch is cars like Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett. In other words, top 5 or 6. If those guys hit pit road, then they cannot be that far behind those guys. You just can't give up that much time on those older tires.
No, and I know there's a bunch of cats right now that are wanting to come to the pit road because there's guys that are really fading badly right now, and they got to come in. They need tires.
Dale Jarrett, the 88 up to 4th as Ricky Craven comes in. And to finish the Robbie Gordon story, we're told that he did not pit at all during that last caution.
He or Scott Wimmer, either one in the 22 car.
But Wimmer's been able to maintain. He's staying in 16th. He's been riding along there pretty well. Hey, if you're not very good and you want to get a little TV time, we'll stay out and lead the race. What do you think?
And you know, Darrell, the only downside to short pitting, like some of these guys are doing, is you're sitting out there now just praying and hoping. Even if you see a car get sideways, don't let there be a caution, because then you would be probably at least 2 laps down. You want to cycle through these entire green flag stops without a caution.
Yeah, it takes almost 2 laps to come in, make a stop, and get back out. You're going to come out almost 2 laps down right in front of the leader.
And with the rule that's been in effect for 11 races now, no more racing back to the caution flag. That eliminates one of the best opportunities a driver had to get a lap back.
20 car, pit road.
And John Andretti coming with him. Green flag pit stops. Derek Cope is in as well.
But this is when, I mean, guys are out there right now and their cars are the worst. They're handling terrible right now. The tires are gone. They need to come to pit road. This is when somebody can spin out and cause that caution that can mess up your whole day.
And what happens when you have half the field on fresh tires, half the field on old tires, those guys with old tires, you can't even get out of the way quick enough because they're catching you so quick.
That's why if I'm leading the race, I'm going to stay out there as long as I possibly can, because you don't want to get caught with that. You want to let everybody else pit so that when you pit, you know that caution's not going to hurt you.
That may well be Matt Kenseth's strategy as he holds the lead at 121 laps. Kenseth has now led the last 32 circuits in the Subway 400.
Yeah, absolutely. He just said that car is getting looser and looser and looser. I think he got tired of saying the word looser. So a tire pressure adjustment. And again, complaining about the debris out there on the track. You always find the rock. Got to clean that windshield.
Craig Biffle in right behind him. So is Ricky Rudd as green flag pit stops continue.
And DW, this is getting past the 70 lap mark on these tires, so that's pretty good run on these tires.
Yeah, these guys, you know how it is. Here comes the leader.
And I'll tell you, it was close in there. Once again, Brendan Gaughan on the 77 new tires. He almost ran over Matt Kenseth as he was just trying to get on the pit road.
Michael Waltrip's in, Ward Burton, and Mark Martin.
Yeah, Michael was up to 7th place there, and his car was really, really good on that long run.
The Killer Bees go to work on Matt Kenseth's car.
Comes Kevin Harvick in the 29. We got Kenny Schrader, who has missed pit road.
And so is the 48 car. He's hit something.
And the caution is out. The
48 car. Looks to me like 48 car got into the back of the 49.
Well, I think, Darrell, he couldn't get stopped quick enough. He couldn't get stopped quick enough and had to spin the car to keep from hitting Kenny Schrader.
Jimmie Johnson was so fast on new tires, running against cars with worn tires.
Now, here, big break for Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Martin. Those guys had not made their green flag stops yet. They have a bunch of cars. We're only showing about 16 cars on the lead lap right now.
This is a bad break for Michael because he just came on pit road, and so did Gordon, so they're in big trouble.
Michael took off, took a piece of equipment with him. A wedge adjusting wrench sits right there in the left rear, and that will be a penalty stop.
Field's frozen. We're pitted past the start-finish line as soon as the caution comes out, and we were rolling. Step 4.
Now they are questioning where they will line up based on when the caution came out.
Yeah, because if the field is frozen, so if Michael was ahead of Dale Jarrett as he left pit road, then he won't lose a lap.
See what happened to Jimmie Johnson and Ken Schrader in the 49.
He did get into the back of
clipped him, yeah.
And Kenny Schrader looked like was maybe trying to slow down, maybe to get to pit road.
Schrader's up a little high right there. Yeah, see, Schrader should have been down lower on the racetrack, and that's a hard lick for Jimmie Johnson.
And the Lowe's Chevrolet looks done for the day. Jimmy's okay.
And you know what this is going to do to Jimmy Johnson and that 48 team? Even with finishing 5th at Daytona, they're probably going to fall out of the top 10 in Nextel Cup points. They have been there for 70 consecutive weeks. But I think that streak will probably come to an end today.
Now, Matt Kenseth had slowed to come onto pit road under green and nearly got tagged here.
Yeah, but see how high, there goes Jimmy by him. See how high up, I guess he knew that probably the spotter told him the 48 was under him. So he let Jimmy go by before he came to pit road.
He almost got collected by Brendan
He
Gaughan.
did, yeah. It says you got to get your hand up on going down the back straightaway. You're supposed to get your hand up and drop all the way down in the lower groove so people know you're coming in the pits.
But Darrell, if you pit under green, can you really afford to drop off the banking net early when everybody else is wailing around the racetrack?
No, you don't have to get on the flat. You just got to get down on the bottom of the racetrack with your hand up so the cat's behind you. But with these seats and headrests and all, it's hard to get that hand up there where you can see it.
Jimmy Johnson has a short day at the Rock as he collides with Ken Schrader to bring out caution number 3 in the Subway 400. Welcome back to Rockingham, the Subway 400. A wedgie for Kasey Kahne.
Yeah, that little thing right there does not belong there.
And you know, we talked about this in the opening, making mistakes on pit road. He came in 3rd. This is going to put him all the way back at the tail end of the longest line, and we've got about 20 cars on the lead lap.
Larry, explain what that wrench does.
Well, that's an adjustment for the track bar. It just makes it easy to make that adjustment.
It gets you a penalty.
When you leave the pit.
When you leave it right there, it gets you a penalty.
Now here's Kevin Harvick coming to the pits. He passes the cones to the right up there, which are the commitment line. Once you pass those cones, you are committed to pit.
And what happened, his spotter was heads up, saw the wreck starting to happen and said, stay out, stay out. Kevin did exactly what he should have done.
Yeah, he could have blown on through the pits and just got a pit road, you know, speeding for pit road, and the penalty may be less.
Let's have a look at some of the pit stops.
2 times they pit.
Under this 3rd caution, Rusty Wallace. Sterling Marlin. Ryan Newman, the pole sitter. Very important to get that grill clean.
Oh, yeah, see all that rubber debris on the grill.
Well, Jeff Hammond talked about it in his opening in the pre-race about all that debris going up to the top of the racetrack. It also goes on the radiator openings of these race cars.
And that very well could have been what happened to the 99 car early on, because there's a lot of it out there, and with these tires wearing the way they are, it's even worse probably than it has been in the past. And we are in the sand hills.
And as Larry mentioned, Jimmy Johnson may fall out of that NASCAR top 10 for the first time in 2.5 seasons. Jeannie?
Off the track, Mike Joy. Jimmy, what happened out there?
We pitted first and put some new tires on, was just trying to make up some track position. Car was really loose before that, and just flying up through the field, and everybody's trying to pit, and Schrader was in the 3rd lane through the center of 3 and try to get down to the apron from there. And from my vantage point coming in the corner, I thought he was staying on the track, and then he comes down and comes across trying to get to pit road. I hate it. No hand signals or anything down the straightaway, and I know there's a lot of last-minute decisions going on to pit and when not to pit. But he started in the third lane, and the next thing I know, he was in front of me, and I tried to miss him and clipped him, and then pounded the outside wall. So just a shame for the Slows team, and definitely a way that we didn't want to start the season, but there's still a lot of races left.
We're glad physically you're doing okay, but the string of consecutive top 5 finishes comes to an end at 7. Dick?
Well, Rusty Wallace had a really nice pit stop. Quick one. Andy Brown is the new front carrier. They've changed 2 people on that car over the wall just for this race. Brown caught a tire that could have been loose and returned it, so everything went well. Michael Waltrip had a very busy pit stop. In fact, it was a twice down pit road pit stop. He had come down, and just as that caution flag came out, they were in the process of changing right side tires. Michael went out, went around, waited until pit road opened again, came back in, put left side tires on. Hey, that car has been very, very fast all afternoon. To that.
John Erickson, Ryan Newman's spotter, jumped on the radio and said, do not pit, do not pit. They were going to pit when the caution happened. Ryan says the car is pretty good. The balance to his liking. It is pushing the nose a bit. They made a wedge adjustment, and they did take tape off the grill. You saw them really scrubbing it with the brush to try to get the rubber off as well. The water had climbed to 240 degrees. To Steve Burns.
Hey, Matty, bad break for Kasey Kahne. He told his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, he was too tight in the center of the corners. They made a chassis adjustment when he came to pit road, but they left the wrench in that they used to make the adjustment. So Casey had to come back down pit road. Tommy Baldwin kept everybody's composure in check, said, don't worry about it. We're making you earn your stripes, but we'll get it back. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett at the 88 says he's a little bit loose, so they made a wedge adjustment going down one round in the left rear.
Getting ready to line up for the restart. There's Dale Jarrett in second. Kevin Harvick will restart at the tail end of the longest line because he went past that commitment line and then cut back out onto the racetrack. If instead he had cut out here before those cones, it would have been legal. But because he was after the commit line, he is penalized to the tail end of the longest line on this restart. Your Chevy points leaders sit right here at this moment in the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Paul is second. Harvick and Stewart.
Now, Matt Kenseth in the 17, he's actually going to start second in line on the outside line behind Jeff Gordon in the 24. Reason being, Jeff Gordon's on the tail end of the lead lap because he did not come back to pit road. With that said, what do you think, Mike? Let's crank it up.
Jeff Gordon battle. Dale Jarrett looking on as it's on for the lead.
I just really believe, just watching Matt drive today, he's driving hard, and I really think he took a lot of heat for winning the championship. Oh, the 18 car slow right in the middle of the field.
Almost gets run over by John Andretti. Everybody clears it.
Almost got run over by his teammate Tony Stewart in the 20 car.
That was huge. But I really see an intensity in Matt that I haven't seen before. I mean, I see a drive in him that I haven't seen before.
See right there how much Bobby Labonte's off the pace, down below 100 miles per hour. He will be coming to pit road, some sort of problem on that 18 car.
Matt Kenseth has led the most laps today as he now stretches it out on.
I believe he's got a flat tire, looks like, Darrell.
And if you look at those top three guys right there, what do they all have in common? They're all really, really smooth drivers. They've all won championships, and this is the kind of racetrack that they really like.
When Matt Kenseth won the championship last year with only one victory, a lot of people forgot that the year before he won the most races on the tour. Jeannie.
Well, Bobby Labonte indeed making the stop. He has a flat left rear tire.
He was lucky not to have a flat back end of the car when he slowed dramatically. Let's show it to you.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't get the hind wheels lifted off the ground right here, because he was up in the middle of the field and everybody was going left and right.
He's on the high side of the racetrack. He's trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack. Gets into Casey Mears, the 41 car.
There's where he cut his little tire down, buddy.
Casey's right front, Bobby's left rear.
Now watch this.
There are the turns at the North Carolina Speedway from our Quaker State aerial coverage. 148 laps complete. Kenseth leading Dale Jarrett by 0.8 of a second.
You know, I have a question, Larry. Maybe even Jeff could jump in here. We've seen a lot of left rear tires get cut down. You reckon that the new soft sidewall they got in these tires is more vulnerable to that?
Well, I think it very well possibly could be. If it's softer, you would think it would be more vulnerable to being cut down. But now this is not a battle for third position. This is Rusty Wallace who's in third. Jeff Gordon is a lap down. Now, one reason it's not that important for Jeff just to really run his car hard right now, all he's racing is the cars that's a lap down, because by the new rule that NASCAR came up with at the tail end of last year, the fact that if the caution comes out, he'll get the free pass to be able to go back around.
Jeannie?
Well, the tire problem may be running a little bit rampant, guys. Jeff Gordon, after his last stop, radioed into crew chief Robbie Loomis. What does the right rear tire look like? Because that's where he felt like he was having the most problems with the car. Robbie said back, hey, it looks good. It's that left rear that looks pretty bad.
Look at this bunch. You've got lead lap cars and lap down cars all scrambling for position here. Ward Burton is 13th in the 0 as he battles with cars that are laps down and with Casey Kane and Scott Wimmer and Dale Jr.
And that's a gaggle that could turn into a wad if you're not careful.
Haven't seen much of our point leader and Daytona 500 champion today, Matt.
He's running back in the 15th position. DW, you won here 4 times, but when you were having a bad day, did you ever try to talk your crew chief into allowing you to pit early?
Oh yeah, but we used to, that's the only time that's the only way I could drive the car, was come in and get some tires on it and hope that, you know, something happened good with maybe get a set of tires that would be exceptional, because that does happen. But you just have to scream for tires. When it goes off, you got to come get tires.
But the downside is what happened to Jeff Gordon. He comes to pit road, get 4 tires. What happened? Caution comes out.
Yeah, but if your car is junk, you don't really care. Just so I can drive it.
Dale Jr. 16th now. Passed by Jeremy Mayfield and trying to get it back.
That's a good job, man. No matter what, I mean, unless you make the call as far as how slow I'm going, but no matter what, don't let me talk you into pit. That's gotten us every time we hear it. So I'm going to cry and complain, but don't listen.
And that's what I'm talking about. That driver, you're going to cry, you're going to complain, and crew chief's got to turn the radio off.
Turn the volume down anyhow.
That's right. Be like Jake used to take that radio, or Hammond would say, here, you listen to him a while. I'm tired.
Now, Darrell, I know you never did that. Called the crew chief and said, don't listen to me.
No, I never did.
But now I listened to his dad a few times here, and his dad would just say, I'm in. I want 4 tires.
Yeah.
He made his own call.
That's right.
And you'd say, don't come in, don't come in. He'd say, I'm in.
I'm in. Ain't leaving till you give me 4.
Matt Kenseth leads the defending champion of the Subway 400, Dale Jarrett, by 1 second. The Subway 400 with 162 laps complete. Matt Kenseth out front of Dale Jarrett. And that lead is now stretched out to 1.5 seconds. 2 Fords out front. Now Dodge has dominated qualifying. See where our Dodge front runners are right now. Teammates Wallace and Newman 3rd and 4th. Sterling Marlin 6th. So still a good day for the Dodge boys thus far.
Yeah, they were very dominant in the early going of this race. Of course, they started up front, had a lot to do with it. But the Fords do seem to be fighting back right now.
Chevrolet did not fare well in qualifying, and the best Chevy on the leaderboard right now is Michael Waltrip in 11th. But keep in mind, several contenders, including Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart, made pit stops just prior to the last caution, and that's why they are 1 lap down.
But I tell you, that's a nice recovery by Michael Waltrip in the 15. Remember, he started back in 33rd position, but Darrell did the same thing in the Busch Series race yesterday. Started back in the pack and had a great race car all day.
Yeah, we had dinner last night, and he said he learned a lot for the race today from the Busch car. They made some changes on it, and it helped it, and he thought it would help his car today. So obviously paying off.
We got some tight racing here. Casey Kane was coming from 16th up to 10th. And did he have to bust through some traffic to do it?
Yeah, and I tell you, I looked down and I said, Michael, where are you going? And of course, look at this, bam, bam, bam. And of course, Tony's a lap down, so he's trying to get by these cats to get up there to get a lap back. So that was some intense racing right there.
And Mark Martin in the 6 back there saying, what are you guys going to do?
A bunch of ping pong balls.
Ryan Newman has his hands full with Kurt Busch. Busch, who led till the very late stages of this race 1 year ago, now moves up to 4th place in his Irwin Ford.
And Busch says, you know, he learned a lot from that race last year. He learned that he used his stuff up and had to open the door for Jarrett to come on through. Maybe he's being a little more patient this year.
See right there, a lot like Michael Waltrip, started back in 27th position. He's just coming a little bit at a time.
Darrell, I know you remember the details of most of your 84 wins, but do you more remember some of those that got away?
Well, yeah, you always think about, you know, people say, what's your favorite win? I said, I don't know, but I can tell you the ones that I lost that I did, like the Southern 500 a couple of times, Daytona a couple of times, lost a couple of races here right at the line.
Well, I think that's how Kurt Busch feels about last year. Elliott Sadler, the M&M's Ford is now 8th. He's the 4th Ford in the running order.
Another car that's been getting better as this race has went on. Started back in 25th position. Remember a year ago when his teammate Dale Jarrett won the race here, Dale Jarrett said a big tribute went to this 38 team. They came here and did the testing for Robert Yates Racing.
Yeah, and we haven't said a lot about Elliott. He's there in 8th place and quietly hanging around the top 10. I got to believe in some of those notes that Jarrett's using, Casey Kane is using, and some others, I guess today, would probably filter down to the 38 car as well.
Let's find out from Dick Berggren.
Well, Elliott Sadler has struggled with that car today, Mike. I'm looking at my notes and the conversations he has had with his crew were very loose. The car is very loose, still very loose. That's as this day has wound down. But each time they've come in, they've adjusted, and right now, it's looking pretty good. Elliott Sadler running an 8th spot.
Right behind him is Scott Wimmer, whose Dodge is 9th, coming off a great 3rd place run at Daytona.
And he started back in 31st position, but I think what really helped him get some of that track position is a call that Frankie Stoddard, his crew chief, made back on lap 52 when he stayed out and got that track position. He paid the price a little bit, but he definitely gained more than he lost.
Frankie's been doing his homework. I'm telling you, he may make some good calls in the pits, I think.
Sterling Marlin has just passed the pole sitter, Ryan Newman. That's an exchange of 5th place. There's the Coors Light Dodge, number 40.
And it'd be good to see Sterling get back to the form he had a year or so ago when he was leading the point standings and winning races, and that car was a car to beat every week. Then he had that accident, and it hadn't recovered yet.
There you see he's about 7.5 seconds behind our leader, Matt Kenseth, which equates almost to 100 car lengths. How about that?
Now, how'd you know that?
Pay attention.
Did you do the math somehow?
I did the math. I've been studying, like Frankie Stoddard.
That's right.
Dale Jarrett's closing in. When we came back from the last break, it was 1.5 seconds. It's now 1.2. Here's Steve.
Well, Mike, DW won 84 races. DJ Dale Jarrett has won 31 times. He's already had a big highlight this week. On Friday, after qualifying, he traveled home to his home in Hickory, North Carolina, to see his 15-year-old daughter, Natalie, play in a high school basketball tournament. Not only did they win the tournament to advance to the state championship, Natalie was named the most valuable player of the entire tournament. Dale saying this morning it's one of the most emotional and special moments he's ever had as a father.
And I know how that feels because my girls are just starting to play lacrosse. And they've never been real athletic, but Sarah and Jessica both are loving lacrosse, and it's fun to go watch them play.
And you know, Mike, I won 2 Daytona 500s as a crew chief. My son Brandon won a Bandolero race about 3 weeks ago. Ranks right up there with you, buddy.
I'll bet. It's under a second now. Matt Kenseth's lead, that is, over Dale Jarrett. 2 Fords and a Dodge in the front 3 right now in the Subway 400.
This is a Visa race break from the Hollywood Hotel. Let's take a look back at what has happened. We've had 5 different leaders so far in this race. Jamie McMurray, Saturday's winner of the Busch race here, his 4th straight in the Busch Series in Rockingham, passing for the lead early. He's led for 39 laps. Kyle Petty having problems.
Yeah, he got together. I think it was Johnny Sauter coming off of turn 2. He collects the outside wall. Kind of spoiled his day a little bit. And then on lap 90, we see Matt Kenseth, defending champion, going past also a former champion of Jeff Gordon.
And then Ken Schrader with some problems on board with Jimmy Johnson, who wrecks and is out of the race.
Yeah, he had new tires on, come up on Jimmy Schrader right there, run the back up, do it all down on top of the body. And Casey Mears get together and make the body have to cut the pit road because he cut a left rear tire down.
And the race summary up to the moment. Matt Kenseth, we've had 9 different lead changes, and you saw some of the reason for some of the caution flags. We've kept an eye on the tires. And how about, other than Kenseth, the veterans, Dale Jarrett, who won here last year, and Rusty Wallace, will be keeping an eye on his closing in, currently running 3rd.
It's real easy to sum it all up. Look at the top 3. You got a lot of experience right there. You look at Matt Kenseth. You see Dale Jarrett coming down in turn 1 right there. 3 champions right there. They understand what it takes to try to pace themselves and get to the end.
Dale Jarrett racing forward. And notice that Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in as the points leader down to 16th. His best finish 13th here at the Rock. And he is certainly a guy who's actually never led a lap at this racetrack and hopes to do better. Said he hoped to be just in the top 10. Let's go back upstairs.
I'll give you a quick rundown of the cars that got caught one lap down by pitting just prior to that caution flag. They include Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, Robbie Gordon, Brendan Gaughan, and Tony Stewart. Ricky Craven, Jeff Green, Kevin LePage, Brian Vickers now 2 laps down, and all because of making green flag pit stops just before the third caution of the day came out and everyone got to pit.
And you don't have enough, there's not a lot of cautions. The middle of this race, we're going to go all the way to about 50, 75 to go before we have another caution.
Casey Kane, Elliott Sadler in the 38. This is for 8th place.
And I'm going to tell you, Casey Kane in that 9 car, they have recovered nicely from that wedge wrench left in the back window a while ago where they had to go the tail end of the longest line. They were back in 20th. Now he just moves into 8th position. But I'm going to tell you, one car that's going backwards and one car that's going to the front. Jamie McMurray in the 42 car. We're looking at Ryan Newman in the 12 first. He's starting to slide backwards. He's back in 7th position. But a car that really gets stronger, I think, on those long runs is Jamie McMurray in that 42 car.
And they're 2 totally different driving styles. I mean, you think about Ryan Newman, he's on the gas, baby, and that doesn't pay off here over the long haul. The 42, he's smooth as silk.
It wasn't that long ago that he just went by Ryan Newman. Look how much distance he's put on Ryan Newman in the 12 car, almost a half a straightaway.
He has got the Rockingham touch that McMurray kid does.
Larry Foyt.
Well, you know what's wrong? They got the dadgone catch can man trying to do about 5 jobs. He's got to hold catch cans. He's got to put wedge in. He's got to do about 15 things back there, and he can't get it all done.
Larry Foyt driving AJ's Dodge, unsponsored this year, making the penalty stop. Matt Kenseth catching a pack of traffic, and there's some good cars here.
Yeah, and these guys aren't going to go down easy either.
Rookie Johnny Sauter to the inside as you watch from Sauter's bumper cam.
And you think about the 18 car, Larry. He's been on pit road since Kenseth has in the 17, and Kenseth is down there and chasing him down. So tells me the 18 car must not be all that good if he come in and got tires, and Kenseth's still able to chase him down and get around him.
Yeah, remember it was only left side tires, and he only had about 2 or 3 laps on him right after that restart.
On pit road.
Yeah, he was about to get lapped again, Darrell. So Tony takes the Home Depot Chevy down the pit lane.
See, he's doing exactly what I would do. He's already 2 laps down. Why stay out there? The thing's not driving good. Come get some tires.
And we're flat left rear.
Yep.
Which they're going to go ahead and change for, because we already are about 60 or 65 laps into this run. So go on and get 4 while you're there. And then hope you don't get a caution in the next 20 or 25 laps.
Matt Kenseth's lead over Dale Jarrett is now back up to 2.1 seconds. And Kenseth having to deal with a good bit of lap traffic now. Closing in on pit stops once again. 193 laps complete in the Subway 400. Working the 4th caution of the day at the North Carolina Speedway, Larry Foyt, just after a pit stop, slid up and into the wall in turn number 1. That puts us under caution. Let's show you some some caution flag pit stops from among the 17 cars on the lead lap, starting with Kenseth and Rusty Wallace.
All 4-time stops. Remember, these guys are only about 10 or 15 laps away from coming to pit road anyhow. 4 tires, full fuel, and adjustments.
And we just got halfway in the race, guys.
Jarrett McMurray is in. You watch Kurt Busch and Sterling Marlin go by. Dale Jarrett, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Scott Wimmer.
DW, that pit stall that Jamie McMurray has as far as leaving is great. He only has to move a short distance to beat the competitors out. It's coming in the problem, finding your pit sign in that curve.
It's the advantage of qualifying up front, buddy. Get the primos.
Now, Johnny Sauter, the 30 car, he gets the free pass, the pardon from the Oval Office. And we talked earlier, not that many laps ago, that Jeff Gordon should be the beneficiary of it. But the problem is, Matt Kenseth just had lapped the 01 of Joe Nemechek and the 30 of Johnny Sauter. So that put Jeff Gordon actually behind those guys that was a lap down. So he don't get to go around. Johnny Sauter, who just got lapped, gets the free pass.
So here's Sauter coming around to line up for the restart, and there's the free pass, getting past the safety car and coming around. For our Craftsman adjustment, let's go down to Jeff Hammond and the Ford cutaway car.
Mike, all day long we've seen several cars come in at pit road with this wedge wrench stuck right through the roof into here. This is what goes down and adjusts the left rear spring when you put wedge in a car. Several times a day, teams have come in, tried to make this adjustment, and what happens is you've got a tire changer right down here changing the left rear tire. You've got a guy putting the left rear tire on. You have another gentleman right here putting gas in the car, and you have the catch can guy trying to reach way up here, put this wrench in, and pull it back out. Guess what? Sometimes you miss it. Sometimes you just don't get it all the way done. Driver gets the cue to go by dropping the jack. Next thing you know, he goes around the racetrack with this stuck inside the car, and as we all know, you cannot leave the pit with equipment stuck on your car or in your car. That's what's happened to a lot of drivers today. They have to come back to the pit and serve a penalty.
And Jeff, I think what's happening, it's getting left in the right side of the car as much as anything, because that's where the right rear wedge bolt is and the track bar, and it just gets left in there. Now here, the 43 car, Jeff Green's crew, they get it out, but I think it's more complicated getting it back out of the right side than even the left side. Matt Yoakum.
And Robbie Reiser on top of the box. Two great stops by your team, Robbie. Your car looks very good today.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about this race team. That's all I can tell you. They do a great job putting these cars together back in the shop, and they do a great job of taking care of them at the racetrack here. And the guys have really built something here, and they got a great race team.
Matt said to Robbie on the radio, it's like walking a very tight fence. When the clouds come out, the car is perfect. When the sun comes out, he gets a little loose.
Thanks, Matt. This will be an interesting restart, because look who's trying to get a lap back on the inside. Tony Stewart, Joe Nemechek, Jeff Gordon, all lined up on that inside road trying to get a lap back from leader Matt Kenseth on this restart.
And this is when it gets really, really touchy, guys, because they're not going to cut the guys on the outside any slack. Matter of fact, they're going to try to push them up out of the way if they can.
And Tony Stewart's actually trying to get one of about 2 laps back. Remember, the reason he is 2 laps down, he just had made a green flag stop before that caution with a flat tire.
You're going to have to be beside the guy if you're going to push him up out of the way.
Bobby Gordon,
here we go, 3 wide down into turn 3. Well, only momentarily. Yeah. You either are momentarily or you don't make it.
Matt Kenseth wasted no time in stepping out with the lead.
And actually, Tony Stewart back there, he's actually 3 laps down now. If he'd have got in front of Matt Kenseth, he would have been 2 laps down.
And what happens here, you've got a fast car. I'm watching Jamie McMurray back in there, and he needs to get by those guys in front of him, but the leaders will run off and leave him, and he loses touch with them, and it takes him a long time to chase them back down. See how he's boxed in right there, nowhere to go.
McMurray, 42, inside of Dale Jarrett. That's for 5th place right there.
The lap guys take up all the good lines, you know, and they leave you what's left. All you can do is follow and wait.
Darrell, I'm a little surprised none of those lapped cars put up much of a challenge.
Yeah, well, Kenseth got such a great start on Tony that there wasn't any use. I think what they're doing is fighting among themselves right now, trying to be the first car lap down.
We listened in on Matt Kenseth.
Well, that 88's pretty strong. I don't know. I see the 97 creeping up there on the scoreboard. I don't know how he's running, but that 88's pretty good.
There's about 4 of them that are running pretty decent right now. 88, 97, and 40 look pretty good.
And 4. If it's any consolation, I'm having the time of my life.
160 miles an hour down the straightaway. You get time to look at the scoreboard?
If you're leading the race, you do. Not back in there where those other guys are.
Rusty Wallace is closing back in on Matt Kenseth. Dick?
He's had a big day, Mike. Not only is the car fast, he's just picked up another spot on pit road, running in 2nd place. Larry Carter is his crew chief. How's your confidence level now?
Well, we're pretty confident with our car right now. It's pretty rock solid. You know, had some good stops on pit road. Rusty's doing an excellent job out there. You know, just a super job today. So still early. Billy, we'll wait and see what happens here at the end of the race.
Let's see you smile then.
Thank you.
There you go, Mike.
Thanks, Dick.
But I'm going to tell you, just remember, DW, we were talking about this the other day. A year ago, Rusty led the most laps here. He was the strongest race car for 2/3 of the race. The track changed. He lost the handle on it. This is the same chassis with a different body. He came here and tested for 2 days, ran over 500 miles in that test.
Well, he's been fast here all week. Led both practice sessions, qualified well. But what Larry Boyd down there's got to be careful is don't let Rusty talk him into doing something at the end of this race.
Now, Matt Kenseth also mentioned Kurt Busch and Dale Jarrett. How about the 40? Sterling Marlin's last top 5 finish, September 2002 in Darlington. So, been a long time for Sterling as well, and he's having a great day.
Larry, you scoundrel, I just now realized where you got all those fancy numbers from.
Yeah, it's coming from our good friends in our production truck.
Is that why you, but you hid that monitor behind, I couldn't see it.
I can't show you everything. You see right now, though, they are 4.5 seconds behind our leader, Matt Kenseth, right now. Hammond told me not to show you all my tricks.
Well, it didn't take him very long to show me all his tricks, but it might take you a little bit longer.
4th place battle, and they're kind of stacked up there. Is Sterling holding Dale Jarrett back and Jamie McMurray? Not anymore.
Yeah, it's possible. Sterling's got that line, and ooh, boy, Dale just slid right in front of him.
Right now, last time through 3 and 4, these 3 guys ran 3 different lines.
I think Jamie's got the best car. He got held up there a little bit with Robbie Wood and some of the lap traffic, but he's looking mighty fast. Whoa, smoke out of Jarrett. He just blew. A little puff of smoke. I just saw it blow up.
Something just happened.
Sure
No problem, Mark. We're coming in.
There you see
the motor.
Tracks.
Tough break for the defending champion of this race as he coasts across the start-finish
Now the
line.
motor's running. It's either transmission or the rear end. Before you pull off on the end of the wall down here.
It sounds like the motor's running, DW, but he has no acceleration, no power to the rear wheels for whatever reason.
I saw a puff of smoke, and it could have come out from under the car, but it looked like it came out the tailpipes to me.
Well, it looked like to me it's coming out of the right side tailpipes right there.
I think on further review, that.
Yeah. Jeff?
Guys, right now we're listening to Dale Jarrett talk about his problems. He says the engine's running, but he thinks he has a problem with either the transmission or the gear and what it could be going on. Again, we're just speculating here, but if something hasn't happened internally, it could have happened somewhere maybe in this area right here with the main drive. A lot of times you may have a tendency to have a problem where this thing will break. As you can see, it connects into the back of the engine, and this exactly is what drives the entire drivetrain all the way back to the rear gear.
Yeah, but Jeff, if you could see what we see, that doesn't usually make you smoke out your tailpipes.
And NASCAR must have saw something as well, because the caution is out.
5th caution of the day comes at lap 213. That is not a piece from Rusty's car. It only looks like it.
I don't think Rusty wanted a caution right now.
That obviously rolled out of the grandstand.
All right, so who gets the lap back? Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon gets it back.
Jeff Gordon will get the pardon from the tower. Pardon me, coming through.
Roy, I'm coming through, boys.
Now, even though he gets the free pass, he cannot pit with the lead lap cars. He still has to wait for the 2nd time through.
I just saw this smoke come out of Jarrett's car, and it's off the right side, and it's smoking out the tailpipes. I got to think that the engine might be running, but I think it's hurt.
And you know, Darrell, when I walked through the garage area this morning, it may not be related, as we see all the leaders come to pit road, they were contemplating changing the engine in that 88 car, and they decided not to.
Jeannie in Kurt Busch's pit.
Well, the 97 at Kurt Busch, he's looking to take a little bite out of the rock. They've been trying to get more bite in the car. Air pressure adjustments to all 4 tires this time, and he said repeatedly every stop, please clean the windshield. Dick?
Another nice smooth stop for Rusty Wallace right now. David Cox, the new jack man, has just let it go. Matty.
Left side's going on. Matt Kenseth's forward. He's going to beat his teammate down pit road. He said the last set of tires, which only had 12 laps
pumps on him were a little more free. He didn't want to make any significant adjustments, just a ½ pound air pressure adjustment change in the right rear steam.
Well, Jamie McMurray just getting off of pit road, Matt. He's complaining about the car being a little bit too loose, but that time they didn't make any major adjustments. Also, to follow up on Dale Jarrett, he's just been pushed back towards the garage.
And the reason you hear all the drivers complain constantly about I can't see, if you're headed down into turn 1, you're looking right into the sun, and it absolutely blinds you. And you put the little of that sand that we see around here, get that on the windshield. Fortunately, we now have tear-offs. Back in the old days, we didn't have tear-offs. You just had to kind of fake it and get on down there with the help of a spotter.
Under caution for the 5th time today. Pit stop complete for Matt Kenseth and Robbie Reiser's Killer Bees as they celebrate. We'll be right back. NASCAR in 2004 has a new title sponsor for its Premier Series, now known as the Nextel Cup, and much more. Here's Jeannie.
We are working our way down the checklist of what's new for NASCAR in 2004. We have the new tire compounds. They've changed the spoiler. And, oh, yeah, the fuel is different. Bob Owen, Senior Vice President of Sunoco, welcome to the family.
Exactly right. Thank you very much. We're excited to be here for Sunoco's entire history, and that includes manufacturing gasoline. Almost from the time people began driving cars, we've emphasized quality and we've emphasized performance. That emphasis on performance naturally led us into motorsports. We're the world's largest manufacturer of racing gasoline, and this opportunity to partner with NASCAR just seemed like a perfect fit for us. Couldn't be more excited.
All right, Bob, get to the pumps.
Thank you very much.
All right. Sunoco is the world's, or the nation's rather, largest refiner of racing gasolines, and we welcome them to the NASCAR family. Dick Berggren?
Well, Darrell was talking about the windshield tear-offs. This is what one looks like after it's been on a race car for, about 150 laps or so. They just pull these things off. See the little tab that tells them which one goes first, which one goes second? They just toss it away, and the driver has a nice, clean view when it's gone.
I can see clearly now the tear-off's gone.
We listened in on Matt Kenseth as we get ready for this restart.
Hey, Matt. Yo. Yeah, I'm just relaying a message here. 2-car wants to know if he can get 5 points when we come back to green.
Yeah, let's see how it plays out. I mean, if he's quicker than I am, and he can keep up, I'll let him have it, but if he starts dropping back, I'm not going to slow myself up.
Alrighty, I'll relay the message.
What Rusty's wanting to do is lead a lap and get those 5 points for leading.
I believe if I was Matt, I would just kind of, he said what I would say. If he can get up here and pass me, I'll let him, but I'm not going to pull over and let him.
Because if he pulls over and let Rusty go by, he may end up letting other cars go by him. That car likes being out front right now.
But I admire him for asking. Doesn't hurt to ask.
Let's ask if we can crank it up for a lap or here. Was that his way of saying, I'm not endorsing this, but
yeah,
I said I'd pass it on?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like he said. If he can get up here and pass me, fine. But, you know, you got to remember something. Matt's in a Ford. Rusty's in a Dodge. I mean, you know, what's the payoff?
Right now, Rusty Wallace in the 2 has his hands full as we ride with Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. He has a lap down back in 19th.
Jeannie is with the defending champ with a Subway 400.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett surrounded by media. This time last year, you were in victory lane. Can you take us through what happened out there?
Yeah, everything was fine, and then I came off of turn 2 in the gas, and it just quit running. So something happened in the engine. So rare that we have anything happen in that department, but some days are like that.
Absolutely. I know that you're saying it's a little rare, but maybe for the viewers at home seeing the Roush and Yates engine going in the Daytona 500, we're seeing a problem here. Any relation at all that you might think?
Yeah, I can't imagine that's got anything to do with it. You'll have to talk to Doug and Robert Yates about the engine stuff, but I can't imagine that had anything. Doug and his people are still going wide open there as they normally are, so just one of those unfortunate things. We had a really good race car. That was the main thing.
All right, thanks for the time.
And that question of Matt Kenseth was not from Robbie Reiser, but from his spotter up on the roof.
You know, attrition is not that high. Dale Jarrett only joins 3 other cars. We only have 4 cars out of this race. Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Joe Ruttman.
But you can be a little philosophical about it when you were running good. And, you know, he struggled so much in the latter part of last year, and he's been pretty competitive the first 2 races. So he's feeling pretty good about it, I think.
Competitive describes Casey Kane. He is 7th in the race, but as you see here, he is the leader of the rookie class in this race. Steve Burns.
With crew chief Tommy Baldwin. Tommy, how's your driver doing with that imaginary egg between his foot and the gas pedal, and how are you doing adjusting the race car for it?
It's doing really good. I mean, we seem to be spotting the field a lot of positions. We're not doing a very good job on pit road yet today, but I got faith in the guys. And you know, the Dodge UAW Dodge dealer's car is it's running really good on the long runs. We just got to get a couple long runs here. I think we got a shot at it.
Do you carry the egg to Vegas?
Oh yeah, no, it's hammered down in Vegas. It's a totally different place here.
And he's right. Vegas is one of those places where you've got to be in the gas all the time there if you're going to go fast.
You know, a guy that has made a nice recovery, about 100 laps ago, he was about to go a lap down. Now he's back up in 9th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the Budweiser car, the number 8 car. So I believe some adjustments have been made to that car, and it's getting better. You know, and I think what happens, the sun's going in, coming out, the track temperature keeps changing. Sometimes it'll favor your car, sometimes it will not.
More than likely, if your car's off a little bit, you're going to like it cloudy. You're going to want the cloud cover and get some heat off the track. That accommodates the car a little bit better.
Won't slide around near as much.
As strong as he's been the last couple of seasons, wasn't it kind of strange to hear that this is the first time he has ever led the point standings?
And of all places to be coming, Rockingham, because they talked earlier in the day, he has never finished better than 13th here. Darrell even talked in the pre-race, his race here a year ago. He had to be dizzy when he left here. He spun out so many times.
Yeah, he had a terrible Rockingham last year, and looks like they have definitely improved, and that's good news for him.
Jeff Gordon got the pardon on the last caution flag. So he restarted at 18th. He's now past Jeremy Mayfield and is up 1 spot from there. Back on the lead lap.
Remember how he got a lap down was he pitted for 4 tires. Shortly after that, the caution comes out.
That was caution 3. We've had a total of 5 today.
What you're afraid of, I'm just way too tight on his traffic.
What Jeff Gordon is telling him, he's just way too tight in the traffic, as we see Rusty Wallace and the 2 continuing to try to get around Robbie Gordon, who's a lap down in the 31, but he don't have any downforce on the nose. Jeff Gordon don't back there in traffic. He'd like to get up there in some clean air. It's going to take a few laps to get there, though.
Yeah, but that's right. Rusty was just about to run out of patience with the 31 car.
Rusty Wallace passes Robbie Gordon. Now he's 1.5 seconds back of Matt Kenseth. We'll see if he can close that gap when we return to the Subway 400 on Fox.
You know, so much was said coming into this race about the less rear spoiler and about the different tire configuration, but some other young guns that's doing well in my book, Casey Kane in this 9 car, he's sitting there running 6th. And then also Scott Wimmer, he's sitting back there running 10th. Remember, between these 2 guys combined, they only have 4 Nextel Cup starts.
Now, Casey Kane and Ryan Newman have really been working on each other pretty hard here, but I think Casey's going to win the battle here in the 9 car.
Matt Kenseth's lead, 1.5 seconds when we left for commercial. Rusty Wallace has not been able to eat into that, but the 2 cars that appear to be coming are Kurt Busch and Jamie McMurray.
And they're coming with a vengeance too, buddy. They're closing fast. McMurray's had it. I think he's had a good car all day, and I think Casey, who's back here also, has had a good car all day, but they've been having their pit stops, and they need to tune up a little bit there in the pit.
About halfway through this tire run, about 35 laps before leader Matt Kenseth's next scheduled stop. And there's his lead, 1.9 seconds.
And you see the miles per hour there in the center, down to 119 miles per hour, coming on the backstretch, turning up to about 88, over 9,000 RPMs. And you're going to turn more RPMs down the front stretch than the back stretch because the front stretch is longer. You'll be faster in the turn 1 with more RPMs.
Some of the figures I've seen that for every couple of 100 RPM you gain in the cycle of these engines. Now we're pushing over 9,000 RPM. you can add about $5,000 per extra 100 RPM as you increase that limit in cost per engine.
I totally agree with you, and I think one of the things that needs to be done to keep working on bodies and tires, they need to take some power away from these engines. 800 horsepower is just going to be hard to manage, no matter what kind of combination you put on the car.
Tell you what, that Ward Burton in that 0 car, he continues to be strong as this race goes on. He's moved up into the 12th position. There you see this whole group is they're about 14 seconds behind our leader, Matt Kenseth, right now. Ward Burton won his very first Cup event here driving for Bill Davis Racing in October of 1995.
Riding with Ricky Rudd in the Motorcraft Ford of the Wood Brothers. He's fallen 2 laps down. You see 2 cars ahead, that yellow Cat Dodge of Scott Wimmer. Steve has more.
And he's got a veteran crew chief, Frank Stoddard, atop the pit box, who's doing a lot of coaching with his young driver, Mike. Stoddard saying, float the car into the corners, be easy and smooth, let off earlier entering the turn, just float it in there easy.
Move up the order to 9th place, and Elliott Sadler. Here's Dick Berggren.
Elliott Sadler started 25th spot. Right now he is running in 9th position. His crew chief is Todd Parrott. How much more speed can you dial into that hot rod?
Yeah, I'd like to say I could dial about 2 or 3 tenths in his M&M Sport cars. The guy's done a great job all day long. Elliott's done a great job. Just been chasing it pretty much all day long. A little bit loose from the center out one time, and now it's sliding to right front. He said right front tire feels like it's gone on the thing. So we'll keep dialing on this thing. Got a long way to go, and try to get a good top 5 out of this thing.
Okay, thank you. To Matt.
Dick, when you have an associate sponsor like Ryan Newman has with Sony, you better have the Mac Daddy of all pit boxes. They spent the last 8 months, George Whitley and Steve Bernier, building their new state-of-the-art pit box. 3 cameras so they can see the right side, the left side, and the roof of the car. Up on top, they've worked the computers so that Matt Borland can see 3 computer screens away. Just hit F1 and he can see what his team is working on as far as her fuel mileage calculations. And then it's all recorded in an industrial-sized TiVo. Our Fox feed is also being recorded. It's all in an effort just to have better communication within the team. Sure pretty nice, isn't it, D?
Yeah, it looks like the dashboard out of a car, you know? Got all kind of gadgets on there. Man, me and Hammond, we'd be overloaded if we had all that. Just think how many races we could have won if we'd have had that, Hammond.
Kurt Busch in this 97 car, he pulls up right behind Rusty Wallace in the 2. Now, this will be a battle for second. Jeff, I think you got a little something for us down there.
Yeah, we've been taking a look right now as the 97 car is putting a lot of pressure, trying to make a move underneath Rusty Wallace right there as they come up off of turn 2. But a lot of people are probably wondering about the fact that Roush and Yates have kind of got together right there. Kurt's got a position right now after Rusty. But the interesting part about it is I talked to Jack Roush this morning about it. And the Ford Racing engines that are coming out of that group right now, he told me today when I asked him about what happened in Daytona, he said, Jeff, we had a lot of things go wrong, but we're on top of it. And I promise you right now, my friend, we will get to the bottom of it. Robert and I will make sure that all these teams get what they need to get the job done. And right now, he's got 4 of his cars in the top 10 as far as the power plant that came out of basically Mooresville this weekend to come down to Rockingham.
They are looking pretty good right now. The guy they better be looking, though, DW, is Jamie McMurray in that 42 car.
Yeah, but I'm intrigued by that pit box. I mean, that maybe caught my attention. Now, Matt, if you're still down there, can you find out how much, you got any idea how much they pay for that bad boy?
Darryl, when you add in the subwoofers, the DVD player, the 9 LCD monitors, and a couple TVs and video recorders, product-wise, you're looking at about $50,000 plus. That's why they're lucky they have an associate like they do.
So do you want to build one for your truck team now?
No. Does it come with air conditioning?
You'll take 2.
Smitty wouldn't. I don't think Smitty wants to tow that behind the coach.
Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth is pulling away because Rusty Wallace is dealing with Kurt Busch there for second place. Matt's lead is now 3.7 seconds. 2 Fords and a bunch of Dodges top the leaderboard in the Subway 400.
Ken Schrader had problems, Rex, and that ends his streak of 70 consecutive weeks in the top 10 in points likely to happen. And Dale Jarrett, defending Champ with some engine problems. Jeff Hammond alluded to that moments ago. Out of the race, but one of the rookies doing well, one of 6 rookies in this race, Kasey Kahne in the 9 car, overcame problems, was back at 18. Now he's moved his way up to the 5 spot. There is a Kasey Kahne who's been running in the top 10 and most of the day. The 23-year-old doing an excellent job, Jeff Hammond, of hanging in there with Kenseth, Busch, and McMurray.
We got to remember one thing right now, Chris. What car is he driving? The car that won the race here last fall. So these guys know what they're doing. Tommy Baldwin's a great crew chief. We'll see right now a suspension shot from Greg Biffle's car. Now I think we're on board with Johnny Sauter. So we got all the cameras and all the angles covered today for sure, my friend.
Now there is a lot to cover as, of course, Rusty Wallace running fourth. Kahne trying to catch him. And there goes Kasey Kahne moving past the veteran Rusty Wallace, who's trying to end that 99 race winless streak. Let's get a quick update.
Hey, Chris, we just heard Kasey Kahne talking to his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin. He said the track is getting tighter. Big track.
Holy cow, the car upside down on the back straightaway.
Carl Long has crashed hard. He collected Bobby Labonte in the process.
Man, Carl's car just took a wild tumble. Joe Nemechek.
Oh, he's okay.
Yeah, Nemechek
Wow.
Nemechek was up in that too somehow.
6th caution at lap 263, and there is Carl Long. He is okay. The Al Smith Dodge is a mess.
I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since the last time I saw a car tumble down the back straightaway like that was Bobby Allison in the Mercury of Roger Penske's in about 1976, I think it was here. Bobby took a wild ride down the back straightaway, very similar to that.
It's something you just don't see. Not here.
He climbed up that, what happened is he climbed up that wall and he got the thing up on that wall. It just started turned over and started tumbling.
You know, Paul Wolf in qualifying the other day in the Busch Series climbed that wall. He just about turned over, but did not.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened here, guys. Get a look at this. There's Bobby Labonte.
The blue car in front, 46.
46.
Somebody hits.
Oh, he just gets hooked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brendan Gaughan got into the back of Joe Nemechek in the 01. Brendan Gaughan in the 77.
Carl Long goes for the wild ride.
And that's all on driver's side right there, sliding down the racetrack. Now she starts to tumble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5.5, 6 times.
And almost landed on top of Bobby Labonte. Jeannie?
Although, guys, Bobby Labonte isn't really complaining too much. He says there's really not a lot of front end damage. He says, certainly I have some flat tires. I'm going to have to go behind the wall.
Tear-offs off Matt Kenseth's Ford. They're also going to make a slight air pressure adjustment in that right rear, and he will beat his teammate, the 97, off pit road, Steve.
Matt, Jamie McMurray saying his car is loose off the corners. They've already made a chassis adjustment, a wedge adjustment, 4 tires.
Ryan Newman's team finishing up service. Matt Borland and crew. 18 cars on the lead lap.
I believe McMurray may have beaten the everybody off pit road.
There's what's left of Carl Long's car. Once again, he is okay after this bad tumble. Brendan Gaughan gets into the black car of Joe Nemechek, and the 46, the blue car, goes skyward there.
Yeah, Nemechek being up under the back of the 46 car lifted it up and got it up on the wall.
It was Mark Martin that turned Bobby Labonte there, and Labonte was way close to that.
Look how high that car got right. It got a lot of air there at one point.
At actual speed.
Just run out of room.
I mean, you're probably running well over 150 miles per hour right there in that area.
Ricky Rudd had to drive through it. Let's ride with him.
That's when you call your crew and you say, you won't believe what I just saw.
After the caution, the race off pit road.
Second was too close to tell.
Yeah, I think McMurray got second.
Caution out for Carl Long's crash. You can win tickets to the Samsung Radio Shack 400, or you could win a new car in our Radio Shack contest. For more information, log on to foxsports.com. Carl Long is the most recent retiree from this race. He joins Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Joe Ruttman in the garage because of this.
Well, you see Joe got a little squirrely back there, and when he did, Brendan gets into him, and the 01 car actually just pushes the 46 over and gets him upside down.
Nothing Mark Martin could do but lock the brakes up, getting into Bobby Labonte there. And Jeannie is with the driver of the 46, Carl Long.
Yeah, Carl Long, first thing I said to you, I was glad to see that you're doing okay here. One of the most wild rides I think people have seen here at Rockingham.
Well, I'm glad to give them the highlight reel show then, but it won't do too much for me racing much anymore. That was the only Cup car I had right now, and I don't know exactly what happened out there. I thought I'd give everybody room and was just trying to ride and finish a race, and basically racing Andy Hillenberg and trying to get any other positions I could get, and without a sponsor and without any help, that wasn't the way I wanted to finish today. I don't know who wheeled. Somebody on the other Cup teams, they give me some scuffed tires and stuff, so I owe somebody for 4 wheels now.
All right, but you got a website and he's taking donations, Larry.
Yeah, Jeannie, I mean, it breaks my heart. DW, you'll relate to this. I mean, he works a regular job. He's the car chief for David Starr's Craftsman Truck Series team. He said he looked at the entry list earlier in the week, saw there didn't have a lot of entries, drugged this car out, got some friends to help him get it down here. He bought the engines from Petty Enterprises over 2 years ago. It hadn't had valve springs put on it in over a year, and it just breaks your heart to see. We may not know when he'll be back racing because, as he said, this is his only race car.
And he's a really good kid. I mean, I worked with him over at Charlotte a couple years ago, and he let me drive his car in the 600. Got a big heart, good kid, unfortunately.
One more lap to the restart here at Rockingham. Here's where the Coca-Cola Racing family is running in today's race. And that out list is growing. In addition to Petty and Jarrett, it includes Carl Long, Jimmy Johnson, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Joe Ruttman. Steve.
Well, Mike, just as Carl Long started his tumble, I reported that Casey Kane said his car is getting tighter, but that's okay. He likes it. The track temp has dropped from 87 degrees at race start to 79 degrees. They dropped air pressure on the left side tires on their last stop, Dick Berggren.
Rusty Wallace looking for his first win in 100. Start's car had gotten a little bit loose before the caution flag. That cost him 2 spots. Not the best pit stop, 15.24. That cost him 1 more. He'll take the green in 5th position.
Robbie Gordon was the first car 1 lap down when the caution came out, so he got the free pass. Brendan Gaughan is now in that position on the restart. Matt Kenseth to bring him around for a restart at lap 279, and we'll crank it up for you. South end of the racetrack. Turn 2 now completely in shade as Jamie McMurray tries to chase down Matt Kenseth for the lead.
Yeah, I believe that's the best car right now. Saw the same thing yesterday in the Busch race. We didn't hear much out of McMurray running around the top 5. All of a sudden comes down near the end of the show, and there he was leading the thing and winning it.
But DW, where Matt Kenseth has been so good since he's been leading this race is on restarts, getting such a jump on everybody.
He got the right gears in his gearbox.
Our Quaker State aerial coverage will show you the sun and the shade. here at Rockingham. This is the north end of the track, turns 3 and 4, bathed in sunlight.
You know, Steve Burns was talking about the track temperature. Right now, halfway through turn 1 and 2, all the way to the exit of 2 is in the shade. That track temperature has really come down. That will make a car tighter and slide around less.
But coming down the front straightaway, Darrell, you face that sun, and the lower it gets in the sky, the tougher it gets.
Oh yeah, and they, you know, guys keep on complaining about, you know, get that tear off the windshield.
7th place battle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Sterling Marlin, and Ward Burton in the 0.
And Ward's just been solid all day long, right there flirting with the top 10, anywhere from about 8th to about 15th. Tell you who's really getting stronger and stronger as this day goes on. Also, though, right in front of Ward Burton in the 0 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. Remember, Ricky Rudd in the 21 car. He's several laps down, but this is a battle for 7th, 6th, and 7th.
Matt has more on the point leader.
Mike, at the top of the show, we documented how Dale Earnhardt Jr. has struggled here at the Rock. Never led, still hasn't yet today. He's never scored a top 10 finish. He's still working on the top 10. They have made significant wedge adjustments on the last 3 stops. Dale Jr. says, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. The car's not perfect, but it is definitely getting there.
And right now, he is going to become an aggravated human being with Ricky Rudd in that 21 car, because Ricky's 2 laps down, and he's running right where Dale wants to be running that 8 car.
But you know, there's a word that he used that every driver, they strive for: perfect. You want that car to be perfect, because when the car is doing the work, you can just drive it so much better. You don't have to worry about even what the car is going to do. That's why a driver's never happy when he goes home. It never got it perfect.
Here comes Burton, Ward Burton. Chasing 7th place.
He actually just moved into 7th place. Ward Burton in that 0 car. His car's working right around the bottom of this racetrack.
What's messing me up is Elliott Sadler's car. They didn't put the colors back on that car. It looks, as it gets over on the backstretch, it looks like that dairy car we had a couple of years ago, the move over car.
Well, if you can find the colors, you'll become much richer with the promotion they have going right now.
It's true. Sterling Marlin trying to hold that pack off. A little further back, Michael Waltrip in the Napa Chevy, Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, and Jeff Gordon's DuPont Chevy coming back up in the running order, up to 15.
After getting that free pass a while ago, getting back on the lead lap. His car is just not that good on the long run, though. It's strong in the beginning, but not good on the long run.
Hey, they're staying grouped up, though. You know, as the race winds down, it seems like the guys all get closer together. Start fighting for every position. As you can see right here, I mean, these guys have been grouped up like this forever.
And Craven and Mark Martin got together there.
And I tell you, Mark Martin, his guys have kept him on the lead lap. He's sitting there in 16th after being involved in that wreck on the backstretch. Steve, a lot of adjustments on that car.
Yeah, Larry Mack, and they had extensive damage to the left front fender of that race car. They've been on pit road by my count at least 6 times. Mark had gotten loose prior to that incident with Carl Long, but they've done a great job of taping up the nose of that race car.
There's the damage to the front of Mark Martin's Bagger Ford. Here's what just happened. He slid up into Craven.
With the with the nose damage, the car's going to push it a little bit more, and he just pushed off the corner and got into the car beside it.
This was a view from Robbie Gordon in the 31 car. That also gives you a good shot of what driving off into turn 1 looks like into this sun this late in the race.
That's why you run up on the car in front of you so close before you realize he's there. You do not see him. You really can't see him.
Mayfield gets past 15 of Michael Waltrip and moves Jeremy up to 14th position. 100 laps to go. The defending Cup champion Matt Kenseth leads Jamie McMurray by 0.8 of a second. 3.2 seconds off the lead is the Sharpie number 97. That's Kurt Busch. 4 seconds off the lead is Casey Kane, and Rusty Wallace is 6 seconds back. There's Casey. 4th place, 3.9 seconds back. cars than Rusty Wallace, who's in 5th place, 6.4 seconds from the leader.
If I'm Matt Kenseth, and I know that Jamie McMurray back there closing on me, I'd be worried knowing how he runs here. He really has this place dialed in.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 6th place, 7.7 seconds behind the leader. And right on his bumper is Ward Burton in the Net Zero Chevy. Now Sterling Marlin is a second behind them. His Dodge has moved away from Elliott Sadler's Ford by about 2 seconds.
I tell you, guy on the move. There's Elliott Sadler in the 38, but the guy that just went by him, Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he just moved into 9th. Started back in 32nd. He was on the verge of going a lap down twice early in the race. So I think track temperature, track conditions, plus adjustments by Todd Berry and that group has him back in the hunt.
And the same way about him yesterday. You know, he didn't run that well until the very end of that Busch race. They gambled on pit strategy, got him up front, and got him a decent finish. And today, here he is, closing laps.
And Harvick had to overcome that penalty, restarting at the end of the longest line for cutting out from the pit entrance when a caution came out. Our pole sitter, Ryan Newman, blew the field away by 1/4 of a second in qualifying, but now finds himself in 11th place. Matt?
He was as deep as 14th, Mike, on the pit stop. The left front tire changer, Dennis Terry, when he's working on that left front, the impact gun broke a lug stuck in the socket. He had to wait until Joe Pietri was done on the left rear, and then Joe went up and hit the lugs on the left front. The biggest hindrance, though, for Ryan Newman, they feel like they can't keep up with the racetrack. They continue to try to free up that 12 car, but the changes they continue to make aren't enough. The car still is tight, run after run.
Meanwhile, Casey Kane driving that train. He's pulled right down on Kurt Busch for 3rd place.
They're having a heck of a battle. They've been side by side there for a few laps, and then Casey fell back behind Kurt to see maybe if he can set him up again, but he's really good right here. Casey is coming off turn 4.
You know, no matter what happens to Casey Kane in these last 93 laps, I have been so impressed. Can you just think of the pressure on this kid? This is only his 2nd Nextel Cup start. He's in the 9 car that Bill Elliott has been synonymous for years. Plus, this is a car that won the race here in the fall. That's called pressure, and he's handling it nicely.
Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth's rear view mirror is going to be filling up with Jamie McMurray. Just half a second separate them.
Mike, I know you're going to agree with me, and I'm going to bring this up right now with Matt Kenseth. Regardless of what he does, so much talk about this chase for the championship being changed because of the way he ran away with the point system. He didn't run that well in the last 10 races. You and I were talking the other day that the reason he ran that way, he was protecting his lead. He's joining these guys now. Change it. I'll adapt to it.
Sure. Jeff Gordon has caught Ryan Newman's 12 and Kevin Harvick's 29, and Gordon's going to try to leapfrog them both to 10th place.
Well, Jeff's kind of had an up and down day. He got those laps down there early, and he started to climb back into the hunt here. He's still almost a half lap down to the leaders, but it's good recovery.
Speaking of leaders, we do have 2 of them right now. They're neck and neck headed into turn 1. Jamie McMurray in the 42 car, right where he finished the Busch race yesterday. He takes the lead.
Well, let's see. Looking back a year ago, you know, Kurt Busch stormed to the front, had a really fast car, pretty much ran the tires off it. Dale Jarrett conserved his stuff and won the race. We still have a way to go. 89 laps.
I got a lot of confidence in McMurray. I just watched him run those Busch races here, 4 of them, and he's won it with 3 different cars and 3 different teams. I don't see why he couldn't do that again today.
3 drivers in history have won both the Busch race and the Cup race on the same weekend at Daytona. Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip, and last week Dale Earnhardt Jr. Nobody has ever done the weekend double here at the Rock. Jamie McMurray now just 0.2 in front of Matt Kenseth as we ride with 3rd place Casey Kane, who is 2.6 seconds off the lead.
Talk about this racetrack going through a change. We started this race about 3 hours ago, 87 degrees. It's down to 75 degrees now, and it just keeps getting cooler.
But I'm getting tired, too. This joint will wear you out.
Come on, driver, hang in there with me. We don't have but 80 laps to go. This is when you got to get on that wheel.
Remind me it's just 400 miles, will you? But you know, you still only average 100 miles an hour here. It doesn't matter if it's 1965 or 2004. That's about all you can average in a race here is about 100 miles an hour.
Jeremy Mayfield back after Jeff Gordon, trying to retake 11th place. Since this track opened in the fall of 1965, every spring and fall, there has been a cup race here. No more. The fall race, as part of NASCAR's realignment, has been shifted to California. Today's race not a sellout, and there is much concern in the garage as to the future of Rockingham as a Nextel Cup track. General Manager Chris Browning notes this crowd is up over last year's, though not quite back to the sellout that they enjoyed in 1997, and he is hopeful of continuing with the Cup Series in 2005.
And we have great racing here. I mean, where do we go? How many tracks do we go to where you can run around the rim of the wall, or you can run right around the bottom or in the middle of the racetrack?
The issues, Larry, are it's in a small market, and this general area is saturated with Cup racing, and that's something NASCAR is having a hard look at, as now there's a nationwide demand for races and dates and new tracks.
You know, DW, Jamie McMurray, our leader in the 42 car, he's fixing to come into a bunch of lap traffic, guys that's trying to stay on the lead lap, and Steve Burns not getting far from a pit stop.
No, we're not, Larry Mack. Jamie just set his cars a little bit on the loose side, and watching his crew, they just watched a videotape of their last pit stop, and just like a football team or a basketball team, they got together, talked about how good this pit stop needs to be. They encouraged each other, high-fived each other. They're pumped for this pit stop.
And I mean, he's getting loose on our acceleration. That's coming off the corner. The rear wheels aren't hooking up. And of course, I know, DW, you think there's going to be another caution, but my boy Hammond and I, we got to start figuring out this thing's going to go green. And Jeff, what I'm seeing is these guys are on pit road with about 115 laps to go. I think some of the cars that are not running that good, what they're going to try to do is break it into halves. They're going to run about 55 laps a run, trying to get in there and take advantage of both sets of tires.
Larry, that's exactly what I'm coming up with right now. About lap 334, 336, somewhere right in there, I expect the guys to be coming to pit road. But what's going to be interesting when you think about what Matt Kenseth's guys have done all day long on pit road, basically 13 flat stops all day long, and you turn right around now, you may have to face this guy on pit road in a green flag situation. Key to this deal is who's going to blink first and hit pit road, because if you stay out 1 lap, 2 laps too long, you'll give up maybe two or 3 seconds right there by doing that. So you got to make sure you make the stop at the right time as well as do it right.
What are they saying in Matt Kenseth's pit, Matt?
Mike, while they're still working pit strategy here in the 17 pit on the racetrack, Matt Kenseth sizing up his competition in Jamie McMurray. He said, and I quote, "I got him down in 1 and 2, but I'm just not as good in 3 and 4. I'm a little too tight down there. That's where we need to work on my race car."
And you're talking about that pit stop. The key is going to be getting off of the racetrack. Who can get off the track, get to their pit box. We know they both got good pit crews, and get back up to speed. That's where the difference is going to be.
And I think what's going to happen, though, Darrell, is you look especially the top 5, McMurray, Kenseth, Kane, Busch, and Wallace, it's going to be a monkey see, monkey do. Like Jeff said, you can't afford to let one of those guys come in there and get advantage of those fresh tires too early. But I think what we've seen all day long, one of the biggest key, no mistakes. No mistakes leaving a wedge wrench in the rear window. If it happens that late in the race, it's all over with.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you don't want to do anything. Give me 4 tires, fuel, and get me out of here. Maybe get that tear-off off so I can see real good.
The leaders have just put Terry Labonte in the Kellogg Chevy 1 lap down. That'll leave 18 cars on the lead lap at lap 321. You're watching the Subway 400. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Watch this, guys, coming to the line here side by side. 42 car got hung up behind Schrader there, but the 17 cutting some slack.
But look at Casey Kane in that 9 car. While these guys been racing, fighting this lap traffic, he's coming to the picture back there in 3rd spot.
The 42 got
a fender inside.
He got hung up behind Schrader there, and he couldn't get out behind him when he tried to cut under him. Here come Matt, and here's Casey all over him too.
Moments ago, Greg Biffle had a brush with the wall up in turn 3 and bounced off it again as he went between 3 and 4. Watch the 16.
And once you see all that dirt and sand flying around, once you pick that up on your tires, it's just like all 4 tires are flat. You just don't have very much control.
Subway onboard cam. Biffle was trying to stay on the lead lap, was unsuccessful. And speaking of lead, let's see if it changes here.
Now, Larry, you know that 17 car normally on the long run is pretty good, usually at the end of a long run, and that's where we are right now.
And I tell you, I think that's where the 9 car, Casey Kane, has been so good on the long run. And I just look at everything that kid has overcome today with that wedge ridge, the penalty, and now he's back up here battling for the lead with these guys.
And he passed him where he said he was better than McMurray was, down in 1 and 2.
60 laps to go, one more pit stop in the offing. Kurt Busch running in 4th place. Jeannie, problem there?
Yeah, just a couple laps away from what Kurt Busch is probably calling a mandatory pit stop. He has asked repeatedly, how many laps on these tires? I forgot, because I can feel it. He's calling it, quote, rear tire issues, guys. He should be coming in very soon.
With all the gear these guys are pulling and turning these engines so many RPM, they're spinning the tires a lot. And you're going to wear out the right rear tire probably quicker than you would the right front tire. And that's where the car really gets loose at the end of these long runs.
Busch a contender for the win here 1 year ago. Behind him, Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and then the 0 of Ward Burton in 7th place. Matt?
A quiet but very productive day for Ward Burton in the 0 car. Remember, his first Nextel Cup win came right here at the Rock back in October of 1995. A quiet day today. His biggest hindrance, traffic. He's been fighting traffic. That's the hardest thing he's had to deal with today. Other than that, the car has been pretty neutral. Not many adjustments all day. His biggest problem, though, has been traffic. His last top 5 finish in Nextel Cup competition came back October 2002.
Now, Ward's driving a new car this year, the 0 car. People don't really, the 0 car hadn't been out there in competition that much. So they look in the mirror and they don't really know who that is. So he probably is having a little more trouble in traffic than he normally had when he drove the Cat car.
But Darrell, this type of racetrack has always, it seemed like, suited Ward Burton's style. I mean, Darlington, Rockingham, he won the Southern 500 Darlington. It's an abrasive racetrack where you have to have driver finesse. Seems like it suits his style.
Yeah, it must be, again, it's like McMurray having this joint all, I mean, he's got it figured out to a T, and some drivers just like the slick sliding around, riding on the right rear.
Jamie McMurray liked it yesterday when he won the Busch race. He likes it pretty much today. Let's go down to his pit.
With crew chief Donnie Wingo. Donnie, you'll definitely have one more stop. How can you hook that race car up for your driver?
Well, the car's got a little bit loose on us on this long run right here, so we're going to try to make a little adjustment here when we can run to the end, hopefully, and get to Hamlin Dodge a little bit better and win this thing.
Car number 42 last went to victory lane here when it was owned by Felix Sabates, and Kyle Petty was the king of the Rock in the early 90s. Sabates still owns part of this team, now majority owned by Chip Ganassi. Maybe it's the 42's day at the Rock again.
And I would love to see Donnie Wingo win a race. He's a really, I mean, he's just a layman. He works hard, and he deserves to win.
You know, these guys are kind of settled in right now, but we have a battle for 11th back here with Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, Michael Waltrip in the 15. These guys are battling, been going at each other, passing on the low side, passing on the high side. See Mark Martin, that front end damage back there in the 6 car. Those guys, that car is good right now.
Yeah, Mark comes off at turn 4 down here, and that thing's got to be plowing like a dump truck, because he just, at the last second, she shoots right out to the wall, and it's all he can do to keep it off the wall.
And when I look at the front of that car, it's like they took a part of another nose, and that's what they've made and mended the left front with.
They got a new nostril on the left side.
Pit stops have begun. John Andretti several laps down, and Derek Cope have both made pit stops, so it won't be too long before we see the leaders for what they expect will be their final stop of the day.
And we want to stress one thing. I know DW will second guess me sometimes, but no matter when these guys pit, whether it's 20 laps from the end, 40 laps from the end, there will be 4 tires put on this car.
Buddy, I totally agree. And if you don't put them on there, I ain't leaving.
Kenny Schrader's in, and Terry Labonte, who was 1 lap down.
Just had win a lap down a few laps ago.
They're on pit road as the leaders. Kenseth and McMurray complete 340 laps.
Larry, I'm tired. I can't see. I'm about them to come to the end of the race, and I need 4 tires badly.
Scott Wimmer, who just won a lap down, brings the Caterpillar Dodge to the pit lane.
And as these cars go a lap down, that will be their strategy. Come on and get those 4 tires, make adjustments, hope the leaders run a while longer, and that you don't get that dreaded caution flag.
One car whose handling has really fallen off, Elliott Sadler, has slipped back and been lapped by the leader.
There you see Frankie Stoddard, Scott Wimmer's crew chief on the pit box, observing the stop. Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he's about to go a lap down, and I'd say he'll be to pit road pretty soon here, Matt.
A lot of debate on the 29 radio. First, they were talking about short pitting before the leaders and trying to gain some track position with those new tires, but they didn't want to take the chance of getting caught if a caution came out. It happened to Harvick here in the Busch car, but now finally Todd Berrier made the call, said, all right, let's roll the dice, let's give it a shot. He was loose on entry, he was tight in the middle, and he was loose off. They have worked on that race car most of the afternoon as the crew is up on the wall.
Brendan Gaughan's also in, and Tony Stewart, Matt.
You can see they're going to make a track bar adjustment. The bar going in the back window. A good stop so far as they come around to the left side. Big Mike Sears. 1.5 pumps to get that left side up. Lugs on, and he's down and away. 15.2.
Bobby Labonte, 4 laps down, also on pit road. You see Stewart. Tough day for both the Joe Gibbs cars today.
You see Derek Cope there on the left in the 50 car drive by our leader of the 17 car once again. Fresh tires versus 60 lap tires.
First of the lead lap cars comes to pit road, and that'll be Jeff Gordon.
And Elliott Sadler in the 38 is going to follow him.
I watched Jeff, and he did something really smart. He had a couple of cars running all behind him there. He had the 15 and I don't remember who it was, 12 or 19, I think it was. And he waited to get them out behind him before he tried to get on pit road so he wouldn't get run over.
Mark Martin will pit, and there's activity in Matt Kenseth's pit.
And trust me, when he comes to pit road, McMurray, Kane, Wallace, Busch, those guys will not be far behind. Comes Ricky Craven in the 32 car. He's several laps down. He comes to pit road. Again, these stops could be the last stop of the day. Very critical. Getting on pit road, off pit road. No mistakes by that crew.
Craven into his pit. Jeff Green brings the Richard Petty 43 down pit road.
But what you want to do, Larry, as you well know, is be sure that when you do come to pit road, there's no one in your way. You don't want cars coming in and going out. You want to be able to get right in your pit box. Here comes a 97. No, that's a 90.
That's the 30, Johnny Sauer.
Oh, it is the 30. I'm sorry. See that yellow hood with the blue on it.
Here comes Michael Waltrip in the 15 car and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. They just about got crossed up getting to pit road.
And they are battling for position. Come off the track fighting for 10th place.
And remember, you have to be down to 45 miles per hour when you get to pit road, and you cannot pass each other on pit road. Single file.
Making the bands of tires on me.
Heard Matt Kenseth, our leader in the 17 car. Need some tires on me, boys.
Rookie Scott Riggs coming in with a Valvoline Chevy.
This lap, guys. This lap. Let's go. Let's put tires on it.
Still only 3 of the lead lap cars have been in so far.
But I believe Matt Kenseth will come in this time.
First gear, 4800.
Lord Burton is pitting.
You heard him give his RPMs. That's how he gauges his pit road speed.
And here comes Kenseth.
And this is 71 laps.
And the 9's coming with him. They're coming together. That's a smart move.
And Jamie McMurray in the 42 car, he can't be far behind. He'll give up way too much ground.
I think Michael may have run it. No, he's gotten down on the apron like he ran out of fuel.
But he just had been to pit road. Matt, I believe there's a problem.
Robbie Reiser waited until the 15 car. Michael Waltrip pitted, so Matt Kenseth, there's a crash.
Robbie Gordon has crashed. And the back straightaway, and somebody's going to get caught out.
But big break for Jamie McMurray, who has not been to pit road yet. Big break for him.
Well,
and a tough break for Kenseth and Kane.
Well, it could be. The field is frozen. When the caution comes out, it's frozen, so we've got to figure out where everybody is.
I'll tell you where they're probably going to be. They're probably going to be at the tail end of the lead lap, Darrell, when it's all over with.
Kurt Busch was going to pit. They waved him through, and Robbie Gordon's singular Chevy's used up.
The 43 car and he must have gotten together somewhere.
Jeff Green.
Gear straight. Gear okay.
Jeff Green had just pitted and come back out on track with fresh tires. So this is the 7th caution of the day at lap 351.
Big break for Rusty Wallace, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch. Those guys had not been to pit road either.
How many times have we said it here, Darrell? This changes everything.
It definitely does, and it changes it for the better for that 42 car.
Not for the better Scott Riggs. His Chevy's being pushed to the garage. And Michael Waltrip is may be coasting to a stop here. Let's see what happened to bring out this caution.
Oh, Robbie gets loose off of turn 2. And look. He's up on his side and almost goes over.
That's on the exit of DW's hot spot.
That's it. Well, it's that transition there. There's a little hump there that just kind of throws the car sideways. 2 cars in one day here getting up on the side like that is very unusual. Look at that. If he had had a car under him like Carl Long did, he'd have rolled too. It's like Days of Thunder.
I wonder what happened to Robbie's car that he lost control and slid up into Jeff Green.
Well, it looked like he just got snapped loose coming up out of 2 down there and caused him to get, lose control.
It's called out there on 70-lap tires.
Old tires worn out trying to make it till you get in your window.
Well, he may have slammed the window shut on Matt Kenseth's fingers or Casey Kane's. We'll see how NASCAR realigns the field. Let's have another look, Darrell, and watch that orange 31.
See, he's coming up off the corner. Here he comes, and he just gets a little loose, and it's almost like he doesn't know the 43 is there. It's got to be. He just didn't know the 43 was there. And here comes Jeff Gordon. Watch him.
Just barely gets by. It's even a hard lick on the inside wall.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Robbie got a little loose, and sometimes that'll kind of just take you by surprise. The car will jump sideways right there with you, and you let the car go so you don't spin it out, not knowing that the 43 car was on the outside of it.
So for the second time today, Jeff Green runs into somebody else's trouble. He hit a tire that rolled out onto pit road. That did not damage his car. But this crash with Robbie Gordon has caused Jeff Green to make several pit stops.
Now, the reason our leaders have not come to pit road like Jimmy McMurray, Rusty Wallace, and those guys is pit road right now is closed. They're trying to clean some trash up on pit road before they open it up.
And we'll try to get an update on Michael Waltrip. There's the pit road closed flag that is displayed in the middle of turn 4 down on the infield side of the racetrack. Michael's car coasted by on the apron and then looked as if it was going to pull to the inside wall before pit lane and stops. We'll try to get an update on Waltrip. Dale Jr. up to 4th.
Again, a big break by not coming to pit road yet. Trust me, all these guys were wanting to come pit road, but maybe some of those crew chiefs had that gut feeling we're due a caution. You told me, didn't you?
They know about history.
Just under 40 laps to go in the Subway 400 on Fox. Caution flag out for Robbie Gordon's crash. The pits will open this time by. Now, Matt Kenseth was shown as being the last car on the lead lap. Tommy Baldwin has won his appeal. They're going to wave Casey Kane past the pace car and bring him around. He is judged to also have remained on the lead lap. And the free pass car looks like it's going to be Ward Burton in the 0.
I think the reason they kept pit road closed that long was till they straightened this situation out with the 9 car. Don't confuse it more by more pit stops.
Well, if that's the case and those guys change tires, now the leaders come to pit road. They're going to be behind. They're going to be behind the 17 and the 9 both because they made their stops under what was starting to be a green flag stop when the caution came out.
Dick Bertrand.
Rusty Wallace car has been loose coming off the corners. They were going to adjust the chassis. They decided to let the weather adjust the chassis for them. They're going to make no changes at all, and as the temperature drops, they think that the track is going to come to them. Rusty, animated behind the wheel, urging the crew to hurry up, make this stop as fast as they possibly can. To Matt.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s in a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment to help the tightness. They're also going to fix a fixture in the last stop. They took wide out. They're supposed to put it in, so they put it back in this time.
Steve Burns.
And Mike, just to update, Jamie McMurray just got his service. They took a ½ pound out of the right rear tire. He's still complaining that the car's a little bit on the loose side. And they also decided not to put 2 cans of gas in, hoping that just one will affect the handling in a positive way for Jamie McMurray.
Thanks, Steve. Earlier we told you of Michael Waltrip's problem. It turns out to be a rear gear. He went to the garage, repairs were made. The crew is now running back to pit road, and he's running back out on the racetrack.
Now, if you're loose in, just putting a little fuel, enough fuel to get to the finish is a really good call because that's going to add a little nose weight to the car. That's going to tighten him up getting into the turn, and that's a pretty smart call, huh, Larry?
Yes, it is. Don't put more fuel in it than you need.
Let's go back down to the Hollywood Hotel, Chris.
Thanks, Mike. Observing with Jeff, we just saw in the pit stop the benefit, obviously, with Rusty Wallace and McMurray, but Rusty, his crew, not doing as well as McMurray's.
Yeah, right now, all day long, Chris, we've been watching these pit crews do their job, especially Matt Kenseth. He's been in the 13-second category all day. We look at Rusty's crew, they were 17.5 compared to Jamie McMurray's 15.2. So, if you want to lead the race and want to win the race, you got to get a faster pit crew than that.
Just 34 laps to go. The rookie Casey Kane up there with Matt Kenseth. We just talked about Rusty. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the hunt. What should we look for?
Well, I know what I was told by Donnie Wingo, the crew chief on Jamie McMurray's car. Even those two guys are in front of them. He says, give my driver 4 brand new tires and about 30 laps to go. And he said, I like his chances any day. So I think we're going to have one whale of a dogfight here right down toward the end right there. You see Donnie Wingo. He's probably arguing the point of how in the world he wound up being behind these guys when they should have been behind him.
And Steve Burns has more. Steve?
Hey, Chris, Jeff, I've been listening to Donnie on the scanner talking to Jamie McMurray just before the pit stop. That's exactly the point he's arguing. He does not like the way the cars are being positioned. But he does understand where he is now. Yeah.
So McMurray will line up behind the 2 cars that were on pit road when the caution flag waved, but were adjudged to have been on the lead lap. Steve is in the middle of that.
All right, thanks, Mike. With Donnie Wingo. Donnie, what is NASCAR saying about how you're positioned in terms of scoring?
I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how you can pit on the green and get your lap back and still be ahead of the guys that didn't pit under the green, and pit under caution. I just don't understand how they can put them ahead of us. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't understand it.
And you know what, guys? I agree with Donnie Wingo. We've been documenting all day long. It's hard to make a green flag stop here, change 4 tires, maintain 45 miles per hour, and not go 1 lap down, but almost 2 laps down. And here these guys are in front of Jamie McMurray that had not even been to pit road under green.
Well, technically, the answer to Donnie's question is the caution came out. They pitted before you did. They pitted before the pits were closed for the caution, and of course before they were reopened again. It's a very odd thing to try to explain, but the fact is their stop was done before yours.
Yeah, well, it was perfect timing. The caution fell just right for the 17 and the 9 because they were in the pits when the caution came out. Right. The field is frozen. No more racing. That's one of the things about the not racing back to the yellow. You stop or you slow down right where you are. And they came out at the back of the leaders, but then the leaders had to make their pit stops.
When you pit under green, you normally lose a lap or 2 here. Those cars had pitted, but at the instant the caution had come out, they had not yet been lapped.
Exactly.
And that's why they're legal.
That's why they're where they are. It's great for those 2 guys, and it's really confusing for everybody else. I've been on both sides of that, and it's just the way it works out.
All right, you got all that, Steve?
Yeah, and you know what? I just want to follow up on the 9 team of Casey Kane. They had a radio problem, Mike, when the caution came out. Tommy Baldwin did not hear spotter Michael Landis make the call on the caution, so they went ahead and stopped. So now they've gotten another member of their team, Sammy Johns, positioned at another place on the track because they are having radio problems.
Well, it was the right kind to have because they got in and out all right, and they're in great shape.
How about Matt Kenseth? Last year in his championship season, cuts down a tire at Sears Point. Where does it happen? Just in front of pit road. He had a couple other incidents where he's got to have a trunk, never mind a trunk full of gasoline, he's got to have a trunk full of rabbit's feet.
I mean, that is about as good a time as you could have right there. I mean, it was right there in that window.
Yeah, and of course it's not planned. I mean, my favorite saying is, folks, we don't make this stuff up. It's just the luck of racing, and sometimes it plays in your favor, sometimes it doesn't.
The freeze of the field at the instant of caution is what puts Matt Kenseth and Casey Kane into the lead. Can they hold off Jamie McMurray, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, and Ward Burton? Those are the lead lap cars as we get set for this restart with 30 to go.
That's what I'm thinking, 30 to go. It's going to get good now.
And Kenseth has been excellent on restarts all day long. It's a huge jump just about every time.
Casey Kane in the 9, Jamie McMurray in the 42. They're going to have to contend with Mark Martin in the 6 and Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, which are a lap down.
Look at how far out there Kenseth gets, just off of turn 2 and down the back. Pulls out there about 15 car lengths.
His teammate Mark Martin in the 6 pulls up in front of Casey Kane in the 9, and Matt Kenseth just continues to drive away.
I think for Kenseth, preparation has just met opportunity.
Seen it all my life. When it's your day, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Not a whole lot anybody else can do about it.
Mark Martin is 2 laps down, trying to get one of those back, as is Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Gear problem after that pit stop while ago.
And Larry, that could very well be. You drop the jack. It's got concrete in the pits here, and that concrete can be very hard on the gears in the car, particularly late in a race like this when everything's so hot.
Out there 15 laps down right now.
Well, Darrell, it's a 30-lap sprint. What do you think the chances are of Jamie McMurray being able to run down Matt Kenseth as 30 laps wind up?
Matt's car's been pretty decent even in the get-go, from the get-go all the way through a run, whereas Jamie and Casey have been a little bit better on the long run. So I think that Kenseth's in pretty darn good shape.
I was going to say Jamie McMurray's first obstacle is going to be Kasey Kahne in that 9 car, because Casey looks like he's getting off the corner much better than Jamie McMurray in the 42 right now.
Any way you look at it, though, you got Kenseth the champion, and you got these kids chasing him. I think that's pretty cool.
A little further back, Rusty Wallace and Ryan Newman battle for 6th and 7th with Kurt Busch, the 97, 6th, 7th, and 8th. For more on Rusty, here's Dick.
Every race driver wants his last stop of the day to be the best stop of the day. In Rusty Wallace's case, the last stop was by far the worst stop. Over 17 seconds. He came in 2nd. He went out in 6th position. The crew is still trying to get the television cameras to work so they can replay it. Even they haven't figured out what went wrong.
And for a guy that's trying to win a race, had won a race in a couple of years, under a lot of fire, under a lot of pressure, that's just one of those distractions he did not need.
By contrast, Matt Kenseth's pit stop was more than 3 seconds better than Wallace's final pit stop. Now the restart had Kenseth alongside his Roush Racing teammate Martin Martin, and we're now been told that Martin and his owner and crew chief have been called to what we formerly knew as the Big Red Truck after the race, what we now know as
the Oval Office. If you look on the side of the truck, it's got a big oval on it. We race on ovals. Seems like a perfect name to me, the Oval Office.
I like it.
You go there and you have a little summit meeting. Doesn't matter who's what administration's in, it always works.
The last lap, Matt Kenseth and Kasey Kahne, they ran identical speeds, but the 2 laps prior to that, Kasey Kahne chopped about a half a second off of Matt Kenseth's lead.
He is slowly closing that gap.
And they're running 2 different grooves completely. Kasey Kahne has been right around the bottom. Matt Kenseth, along with Jamie McMurray in the 42, been right up against the wall.
Yeah, now's when you want to find the bottom, because that's the fastest way around. The track is shaded. There's no more sun. Should be nice and cool. A lot of grip. Got to go, baby.
Let's go back and have a look at that restart, Darrell. What NASCAR asks the lap cars to do is show respect for the cars on the lead lap when you restart.
See anything wrong here? They both take off together. Mark's, got good speed through the corner. Now possibly right here with the bend up front end, he should have probably dropped down out of the way right there.
I think that's probably what they were talking about right here, and even through 3 and 4.
But as you can see,
I give that a 50-50. I think if Kasey Kahne had a better restart, Mark wouldn't have been able to pull up in front.
And here's the thing about Mark Martin, he shows no favorites. I know that Matt's his teammate, but I just don't. Mark's not that kind of guy.
Well, that's why they review these things down in the Oval Office.
And it doesn't hurt to come into the Oval Office every now and then and have a meeting. Kind of look around, see what it looks like. Mark hadn't probably been in there for a while.
Just looks the same on the inside. Trust me, I've already been in there.
Just don't want to have a reserved seat. Matt Kenseth 0.8 of a second up on Kasey Kahne. Jamie McMurray 0.3 back of Kahne. Sterling Marlin 2.5 seconds back of them.
Boy, Jamie is doing what he did yesterday. He's right there in third place, and that car really, his cars here, his Busch car and the Cup car, they get in the corner so well, particularly the third turn. He really has a knack for floating it in there really fast.
That last lap, he was quicker than Matt Kenseth and Kasey Kahne in the 9 car.
And if he's a little loose there, they may have adjusted that rear air pressure just a tad. It might take a lap or two to free him up where he can get going here. Look at him close in here at 3 and 4.
And that's what I love about this racetrack. You know, you catch somebody here, you can pass them. You don't have to follow them.
And I think you're right, Darrell. If this last restart came with 50 laps to go, I like McMurray. But with only 30 laps to work with, that may not be enough time for him.
It's going to be a nail biter.
And right smack in the middle of those two contenders, what a fabulous job by rookie Kasey Kahne. Yes, he's with the team that won here last fall. Yes, he has all the notes that Bill Elliott relied on to get him to victory lane. But he's a rookie. He was the subject of a big battle between Ford and Dodge as to who he would drive for this year. He's trying to fill Bill Elliott's shoes. What a job he's done.
And why do these young men get these opportunities? Because of what he's doing right here today. Because they deserve it and because they can step up.
There are the contenders. The Ray Bestis Rookie Award. Kasey Kahne well out ahead of Sauter, Wimmer, Vickers, and Gone.
Wimmer's, he's back there in 15th spot. He's had a decent day as well.
Every one of these rookies were winners in the Busch Series last year, except for Brendan Gaughan. He pretty much dominated the Craftsman Truck Series as far as wins.
Yeah, Brendan's probably more of a rookie, a true across-the-board rookie than anybody else is because he's got the least amount of time in these cars.
Here's our Daytona 500 winner and the Nextel Cup point leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's 4.5 seconds off the lead at what has been the worst of his tracks, but is in 5th place, and he is the top Chevrolet in this race.
And remember Matt Kenseth last year. They won the most races the year before, but they analyzed their program over the winter, and they said, look, we know we can win races, but we got to be more consistent. Dale Jr. knows he can win races, but he's got to be more consistent. Maybe he learned from last year.
Every race takes on a greater importance this year in the points. NASCAR, after 26 races this season, will throw a caution flag on the season, bring all of the top 10 and everyone else within 400 points of the leader up to just 1 car length apart, 5 points apart, and restart the season with 10 laps to go to chase the championship.
You know what's at the end of that championship? $5 million.
Yeah, that's kind of what I like. Forget how you get there. I just like the reward, the bonus. And it's like everything we do in this sport. Once racing started back in Daytona, it doesn't matter what it is. We got to race every week. We'll deal with it as we go forward.
And, you know, going back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, I know they came here with winning on their mind, but trust me, a top 5 finish for them would be like a win.
It would be his best yet. So that's a big game.
Tim Burton goes in the garage. He's done for the day. Ricky Craven comes out of the garage to run a few more laps, and we get a weekend off. Wait, we just started.
I'm not happy.
I don't want a weekend off.
I'm not happy about that at all.
But then we'll go to Las Vegas in 2 weeks' time with NASCAR on Fox.
Another racetrack where Matt Kenseth is the defending champion of that race.
Viva Las Vegas.
Matt Kenseth won from 25th starting spot here 2 years ago. Today he started 23rd. So his qualifying fortunes have improved. But at the end of the race, same story.
We're tightening up here for the lead. I'm telling you, it's getting closer and closer for those front 3 right there.
Oh, yeah, this is not over.
And they're also coming up on some lap cars, and we know they can play a factor in this thing, especially near the later laps of the race.
Inside 10 laps to go, they may just all 3 be side by side at the checker. Kasey Kahne has caught Matt Kenseth.
We've seen some exciting finishes here through the years. One goes high, one goes low on that last lap. And we got a drag race to the start-finish line.
I believe Casey's a little better than Kenseth in 3 and 4. Maybe Kenseth's just a little better in 1 and 2.
Now this is where you got to be careful as a rookie. You got a faster car. You've caught this guy. Do you have the knowledge? Do you have what it takes to get by him?
Is this like a dog that chases cars going down the street? You catch one. Now I caught one. What do I do with it?
Wrong. I caught it. Not only that, but he's got McMurray, you know, breathing down his back too. So,
and look at all the time that Kenseth just lost in 3 and 4 on that lap.
Just don't forget about that guy in 3rd. Remember, he won in his 2nd Nextel Cup start. You know what it is for Kasey Kahne? his second Nextel Cup start.
And one Busch race that he won here, Michael and Jeff Green were racing for the lead. They got together in 3. He drove under them and won the race and picked up the name McLucky.
And he did it yesterday. He drove underneath 2 cars that got together, one a leader, one a lap car.
Guys, he got a heck of a run off turn 4 that time. Jamie McMurray in the 42 car right around the bottom. The other 2 cars were at the top. They're all going to hang near the bottom in 1 and 2 this time.
5 laps to go.
Everybody is right now, they're doing all they can do. They're not leaving anything on the table. Matt's got to kind of wonder where these guys are going to go.
Now that time McMurray in the 42, he goes to the top side. He saw the lap car on the bottom, thought they would catch him, so he was forced to go to the top.
And something I don't think I've ever seen in NASCAR racing. The starter will not wave the checkered flag. Our Grand Marshal for a day, John Cyrus, our contest winner, is going to get to do it. But who's he going to wave it over?
Right now, he don't know.
I think it's going to be a photo finish.
There's McMurray, pulls right up to the back of Casey Kane in the 9 car. Now he's moved his car to the top the last 2 laps in 3 and 4. They drive off into 1. They cannot see now. The sun's right in their eyes.
See, I think Matt has an advantage. He knows just how hard to drive his car. And these guys behind him, they're trying to drive harder and harder to get around him, and it's going to hurt them.
There'll be 2 laps to go this next time. There's 1 lap car up in front of him, Derek Cope in the 50 car.
And he won't be a factor. He pulls down and out of the way. 2 crew chiefs looking on. Robbie Reiser, Tommy Baldwin. 2 to go. 3 cars that could win it.
Boy, the 9 got a great one off at 2 that time. He went up a little high, but he couldn't carry it all the way off. Had to get out of the throttle a tiny bit over there off of 2.
Look, McMurray looks like he's going to go to the bottom this time. This is where he's been so good.
That's where he should have been. I would have gone to the bottom sooner if I'd have been him.
He just like yesterday. The pass. White flag this time. 1 to go, boys.
All right, somebody's got to go different. Can't all go the same way.
Kenseth went low in 1. Changes lanes. Here comes Kane on the outside.
Just can't quite mat it right there off of turn 2.
McMurray almost hit the wall exiting 2 and drops back.
Yeah, he lost a lot of ground right there. Last time through 3 and 4, though.
Kane
goes to the bottom.
Kane comes to the bottom.
He gets a run. He's got a good run on him.
Side by side to the line. Kenseth.
Told you it'd be a Fomoco finish.
Matt Kenseth wins the Subway 400. His 8th career win.
1/100th of a second.
That was a great, but you know, that was really smart on Kane's part. He saved his best for the last lap, the last turn.
Here it is again. Coming out of 2, McMurray got a little loose. It made it a 2-car race. Here they come to the line.
Kane got such a run off turn 4.
Ooh, baby.
Wow.
All right. Casey's around here. He says, I'm going to do me some donuts.
You know what? He should.
Well, as rookie of the race, he's entitled. Look at that finish.
Ever so close.
And as they cross the line, Jack Roush knows.
Got the hat nose.
Jack says, I think we got it.
You know, starting in the back has not been a disadvantage here. Neil Bonnet won here in '88 from 30th. Bobby Hamilton won from 28th. Johnny Benson's victory came from 26th. And 2 years ago, Matt Kenseth won here from 25th. Today, he started 23rd. He'll go to victory lane. A great finish for Casey Kane. We'll be back with more NASCAR on Fox.
Welcome back to the Nextel post-race show, brought to you by Nextel. NASCAR and Nextel partners in speed at a crazy go-nuts finish. Matt Kenseth now within 7 points of the Nextel Points Championship lead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he just does hold off by 1/100th of a second the rookie Casey at the Rock, who put on quite a show. Let's get out to Matt Yoakum at the Subway Winner's Circle.
And he asked his team 3 different times, are you sure that I won? Each time they said, yes, it's a photo finish, but you are the winner for the first time in 34 races. Matt Kenseth goes to victory lane. A hug by car owner Jack Roush. Matt, you said on the radio that was the most fun you've ever had in a race car, period.
It was a blast. The end was a little stressful. Everybody's been asking me about rookies this year. I said, man, you got to watch out for Casey Kane because he's kind of a sleeper. But It was a great day for our DeWalt car. I got to thank our sponsors real quick. DeWalt, Smirnoff Ice, Triple Black, Carhartt, GE Lexlane, all the guys that help us out. But our Ford Taurus was stuck good today, and I just had a blast. You know, everybody at the Roush engine department and the Yates engine department, everybody combining that has done such a great job. We just got awesome engines. We got a better body this year, and I think you're going to see a lot of this year. Maybe not for me, but I think from all the Roush boys. So this is a good way to start it off.
Now, you asked 3 times how close it was. Let's take a look at the monitor. You can just see how close that finish was, Matty.
Yeah, I think we needed every bit of the power we had there at the end. I knew he was going to be close, and I didn't want to spin the tires off at 4, and he was getting the air off my door there, and I just tried staying away from him. But I probably should have pulled down a little bit, but it was a close race. But these guys have worked hard for this, and feels good to be here. This is for everybody who says we couldn't lead laps and win races. This feels good.
Sure is. 5 straight top 10s here at the Rock, including the win today. Steve?
Thanks, Matt. With Kasey Kahne, you guys battled back from a bad pit stop. This is the longest race you've ever run. Tell us about the battle with Matt Kenseth.
It was fun. You know, we came close there. I knew I had, you know, I thought I was a little better than him in the open, but when I was up, you know, right up behind him, it was tough to get a good run on him, and it was close. So I mean, I tried to set him up down here, and you know, it came as close as we could. But it definitely a good day for the Dodge dealers, UAW Dodge. You know, we were up and down on the pits. We'd come out a few spots behind, a few spots forward, and you know, we fought our way back all day long. So. It was pretty cool. It's you know, a lot better finish than yesterday in the Great Clips car. We were good there too, but you know, didn't finish the race. But definitely today was a highlight.
Nice job, Dick Berggren.
With Jamie McMurray, a hard-fought third-place finish. What were those last few laps like?
Just out of control. That was a good time. I mean, getting to race that hard for 30 laps. Typically, you try to conserve your tires here for first part of a run, then so you have some at the end. But just that's a good time to slide out of control.
Congratulations on a nice run. To Jeannie.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think I'm just going to use your word. Would you say fantabulous when you came through?
Yeah, I've heard that somewhere. I think somebody made it up. But I'm just really excited that we got such a good run today. We didn't have a top 5 car. I think everybody knew that and everybody saw that. But we've been bit so badly here in the past on pit strategy, and today we used it to our advantage, and we stayed out as long as we could, and we caught a bunch of guys under the yellow of pitting and everything, and we got us a great finish. You know, that's what you got to do. We didn't have a top 5 car, and we got a top 5, so that wins championships.
Pretty nice follow-up to Daytona. Guys?
The series champ beats a talented rookie by 100th of a second. I don't know, Darrell, does it get any better than this?
Well, I think it just shows how great NASCAR racing is. We ran 400 miles here, about almost 4 hours, and the winner wins the race by this much. I don't know of any other series in the world that can run the kind of races we run, put on the show. We put on the top 3 right there altogether, throw a blanket over them.
Forget tire management. Sorry, Larry, this was run and gun.
Yeah, I mean, with 30 to go, it's all over with as far as tire management. But I tell you, I'm pretty impressed with Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think this was a big question coming here after winning the Daytona 500. Could he back up that win at a place that he struggled so much, and he did it? Maybe it was strategy, call it whatever you want, but he did it today, another top 5 finish.
Here's a look as Dale Earnhardt Jr. retains the lead. Matt Kenseth, Kasey Kahne, Jamie McMurray, Sterling Marlin, a Ford, 3 Dodges, and a Chevrolet. Then the Penske cars, Newman and Wallace, Kurt Busch's Ford, Ward Burton and Jeff Gordon in Chevys.
Pretty good job for Mark there in 12th place with that old beat up front end he had on that car. Brendan Gaughan down there, he got a good finish.
What a great show. What a great day for series champ Matt Kenseth. And we'll see you in 2 weeks at Las Vegas. Here's Chris Myers to close us out.
Yeah, coming up, we'll take a look at the points, and coming up on Fox, my big, fat, obnoxious tire changer. No, I just want to make sure you're paying attention. Actually, more fine programming as we look at the tight race. Kenseth within 7 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the points. And, of course, former Rookie of the Year, of course, points champion last year, Matt Kenseth, a terrific finish, holding off Kasey Kahne.
Oh, man, I tell you right now, you don't get much better than this as far as I'm concerned, but this is what makes this racetrack so special for a lot of drivers, because it's a driver's racetrack. And what about that point situation right now? Matt Kenseth's right in behind his old buddy, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
All right, and we do have a leap year, so this is an off weekend. It just falls that way, so a little bit of a break as you see Matt Kenseth being interviewed. But we will, in 2 weeks, be in Las Vegas. The Busch Series qualifying on speed, and the Nextel Cup qualifying on Friday of that weekend. And then on Saturday, you'll see it on Fox, NASCAR Busch Series presented by YJ Stinger, and then the NASCAR Nextel Cup practice. Sunday, NASCAR this morning, and then, of course, we'll have the actual race and the pre-race show. Note the time there because of the Western time zone, 2:30 Eastern. Always a good time in Las Vegas, hometown of Kurt Busch. And there is Matt Kenseth, who made a deal with his father when he was 13. You know, buy a race car, I'll work on it till I'm old enough to be able to drive a race car. And the rest is history, as he is on a roll at The Rock. A look at the winner's circle as we are ready to wrap things up here. And we want to wish our best to Steve Shaw, part of our crew on FX and Fox NASCAR coverage the last couple of years. He is battling non-Hodgkin's cancer. We wish him a speedy recovery. And we want to thank all of the people who worked so hard on this crew all week long to get us up and running on Fox. A little bit of a break, and then we'll be back on from Las Vegas. Matt Kenseth, your winner here. Kind of a crazy start to the season. It's going to be wild, and glad to have you along for the ride. For all of us, thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.